A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tender-Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. K is for Kroger, C is for cut, B is for beef. KCB means Kroger Cut Beef, and Kroger Cut Beef means more meat for your money. Remember that fact, ladies. Remember that Kroger Cut Beef gives you more meat, less waste, and for this reason. Before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Yes, that's before the meat is weighed and priced. And listen, you get the top U.S. government grades of beef. Yes, sirree. It's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. So you get better value in top-grade beef. Let's take a Kroger cut chuck roast as an example. Before the roast is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess waste and stringy meat. You're bound to get a better value because you get more solid meat, only a minimum of bone. No matter which you prefer, steak or roast, you receive more meat, less waste in Kroger cut beef. But make that discovery for yourself. Visit your neighborhood Kroger store and get Kroger cut beef. It gives you more meat for your money. And now, Hearts in Harmony. Peg Martin has convinced Penny Gibbs that it's wise if she doesn't set an early wedding date with Barry Carlton. Penny accepts this as friendly advice, not at all suspecting that Peg herself has intentions of marrying the young millionaire. It's an hour after dinner in the Gibbs home, and the phone rings.
Hello?
Hello, Nora.
Oh, yes, Miss Gibbs.
Nora, look, I'll be downtown logging my plans, so I thought I'd better phone you.
Well, there's nothing wrong, is there?
No, there isn't. Johnny didn't have those sketches ready for Jed, so I'll wait here until he finishes them.
Where's here, Miss Gibbs?
I'm in Johnny's office.
Oh, all right.
Oh, Nora, has Barry Carlton called?
Oh, no, he hasn't.
Oh, well, I expect him to. If he does, tell him where I am and tell him I'll phone him when I get home.
All right, Miss Gibbs, I'll tell him.
Thanks, Nora. Bye.
Bye.
What's the matter, Nora? Gibbsy stuck downtown?
Yes, Freddie. She has to wait for Mr. Keith to finish some drawings for Mr. Billings.
Oh, well, I guess you won't be home for a long time then.
Mm-mm.
Guess we're stuck here, huh?
Well, we can go to the movies if you want to, Freddie. Mrs. Billings will watch after the children.
Well, we don't want to ask her to do that, do we? After all, she had a tough day with Mr. Billings and the doctors.
Oh, yes, she has, hasn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't mind staying home.
I don't either.
Either.
I'm sorry. I don't either.
That's better. Did the doctors have anything good to say about Mr. Billings?
Well, no, it was just a routine checkup today. But I hear that they're going to give him one every month. And there's no hope that he'll ever walk again. Guess everybody's given up on that.
Everybody but Mr. Billings.
Yeah. And that's what gets you, too. You know, the guy it's toughest on, he's taking it the easiest. Some guy, that Mr. Billings. Only hope I'm like him when I'm his age.
Wonder what you and I'll be like, Freddie, when we're 60 years old.
Well, I got a rough idea that we'll be just like 60 years old.
A wonderful description, Freddie.
Well, let's not talk about what it'll be like when we're 60. It's tough enough to figure the ways and the wife wars and everything else just the way it is right now.
I thought you were happy, Freddie.
Well, Nora, I'm not happy seeing people get kicked around. And the kicker's getting away with it.
Huh? What do you mean?
I mean, you gotta close your eyes and put cotton in your ears not to see and hear what Peg Martin's doing to Gibbsy. And I told Gibbsy about it just the other day, and what did she do? She just patted me on the head and said, thanks, but I know all about that, and it's okay.
What did she know about?
What I heard Peg Martin saying to Julie about marrying Barry Carlton.
Mrs. Martin said she was going to marry Mr. Carlton?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, crickets, Freddie, I don't...
You don't believe it either, do you?
No.
I guess nobody will believe it. But I heard Peg giving Julie the 1, 2, 3 on how to win friends and influence Barry Carlton.
Oh, you must have misunderstood, Freddie. I heard Mrs. Martin telling Miss Gibbs how thrilled she was because Miss Gibbs was going to marry Mr. Carlton.
Look, Nora, Peg Martin is one of those dames who can say one thing and think 3 other things all at the same time. I tell you, she's going to try to get her hooks into Barry Carlton if she has to step all over Gibbsy's dead body to do it.
Freddie, I suspected Mrs. Martin of being sort of bad once, too. But I realize now it's just because I didn't understand her. Well, she's awfully nice, and she wouldn't do anything to hurt Miss Gibb.
No, she doesn't want to hurt her. She just wants to practically kill her and make it as painless as possible.
You're wrong, Freddie. I'm sure you are.
No, sir.
No, now look how nice Miss Gibbs has been to Mrs. Martin. She's let her live here and brought her daughter to live here, too. And Mrs. Martin is happy now, where before she was awfully unhappy.
Yes, and I remember when she came here sobbing about a no-good husband and a kid that she didn't have enough money to support.
Her husband was an awfully bad person, Freddie.
Yeah, sure he was. But I'm beginning to wonder what made him that way, Crickets. You know, maybe it was his wife that drove him nuts.
Freddie, she loved him very much.
Peg Martin's the kind of a dame that can't love anybody but herself. And if I were her, I couldn't love myself either. I tell you, she's trying to put the skids under Penny and grab Barry Carlton and his dough for herself.
Freddie, I won't let you talk about her that way. You have no way of proving anything you're saying.
Well, I know what I heard her say to her daughter.
You told Miss Gibbs what she said, didn't you?
Yeah.
And did Miss Gibbs get upset about it?
Well, no, but she doesn't understand.
Well, then that ought to prove that you don't know what you're talking about. You just didn't understand what Mrs. Martin was saying, that's all.
Well, maybe I didn't. But I'm still going to keep an eye on that Martin dame just the same.
Freddie, let's not talk about it.
Okay. Only makes me mad when I do. Say, where is Peg anyway?
Oh, out on the porch with Julie.
Oh.
Freddie, isn't it exciting about Miss Gibbs and Mr. Carlton?
Yeah, if it works out all right.
Oh, you know it will.
Well, I promised I'd keep my yap closed about the Martin dame, so I will.
Oh, Freddie, it's going to be wonderful for Miss Gibbs. Just think how rich she'll be.
I can't think of numbers that high.
I heard once that he has $10 or $15 million all his own.
Crickets, when it gets past $1 million, I stop getting excited. I just get numb.
Well, maybe you'll have $1 million someday.
Oh, me?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not cut out for cash like that. I'm the kind of guy who's someday going to have just a little fold of money in his pocket and something in maybe 4 figures in the bank for old age or that rainy day. And maybe if I'm lucky, I can run the bank account up into 5 figures. But the first one won't be big.
Oh, it must be wonderful to be rich. I wonder if you feel different inside than when you're poor.
Well, I don't know, Crickets. I only know what it's like to feel poor. That isn't too bad, really. So, what if you are gold-plated inside? I don't think you'd feel any better. Maybe worse.
You know, I wonder if Miss Gibbs thinks about how rich she'll be.
No, I don't think so, Crickets. Not Gibbsy.
Well, I would. I'd think about clothes and cars and going to beautiful parties.
Hey, now, wait a minute.
Hmm?
You aren't turning money happy on me, are you?
Oh, no, Freddie. I was dreaming for Miss Gibbs.
Yeah, but you sounded just like it was something you'd like to have yourself.
Well, I would. Everybody'd like to have lots of money. Oh, but it's not important if you don't.
Well, if you want it and you don't have it, it's plenty important. And I warn you, Crickets.
Yeah?
I'm never going to be any Barry Carlton in the pocketbook. Look, when you marry me, you're going to be lucky if you know whose picture's on the back of a $10 bill. That is, of course, in case I start making my own.
Oh, Crickets, Freddie, when we're married, it won't matter if we aren't rich. Well, we aren't rich now, and it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter now, but what happens in a few years? And maybe you can land somebody with a big bankroll. Will I still look good to you then, Nora?
Oh, Freddie, how did we get into this mess?
Well, you went gaga for Gibbsy because she's marrying a pile of dough.
Well, that was for her, Freddie, not for me. I don't care if we never have any money, as long as we have enough to get along on. Oh, believe me, Freddie, I mean it. Please believe me.
Sure, Crickets. Sure, I believe you.
Honestly?
Sure, you bet I do. I'll believe anything you say, providing it's what I want you to say.
Oh, you.
Hey, what's that?
It's Julie out on the front porch. Something's happened to her.
Oh, her mother probably slugged her once.
Freddie, you promised.
I'm sorry, Nora. Come on, let's go out and see what the trouble is.
Maybe we shouldn't interfere.
Well, the kid's still crying.
Yeah.
Maybe Peg needs help. What is it?
Oh, Julie, what's the matter, honey?
I fell.
Oh.
My doll fell off the porch and I fell after her.
Oh, you're going to be all right, kid. Come here, let's have a look at you.
Where does it hurt, Julie? Huh?
Nowhere, I guess. Just everywhere.
Oh, come on now, Julie. Big girls don't cry.
But
I'm a little girl. There, that's better. Oh, your dress is torn.
Torn?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mommy will be mad over me. Oh, she'll scold and scold.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
Julie, where is your mother?
She went away.
Huh?
She went away. Where?
The big car came by and went slow. Mommy left and went down the street, and the big car stopped, and Mommy got in, and the big car went away.
A big car, Julie?
Real big, Uncle Freddie.
Barry Carlton. Nora, he's the only guy in Rossville who drives a car that big.
No, Freddie, it couldn't be.
Well, it could be, and it was.
Oh, Aunt Nora. Mommy will be so mad because I tore my dress.
Well, of course it will, Julie. Now, you go upstairs and change into another dress, and I'll fix it for you so your mother will never know it.
You won't tell I tore it, Uncle Freddie?
I'll say I won't, Julie.
Oh, thank you, Uncle Freddie. I'll go change my dress right away, Aunt Nora. Okay. Come on, Henrietta Josephine. Everything's going to be all right now. Mommy won't know it. We won't get into any trouble.
Gee, it's awful for Julie to be afraid because she tore a dress. When I was little, I was always tearing mine.
So, she's out with Barry Carlton, huh? Out with Barry Carlton.
Freddie, you don't know for sure.
Well, Gibbsy's been expecting him to call, hasn't she?
Well, yes, but that doesn't
Well,
mean
that's the answer to why he hasn't called. He sneaked out with Peg Martin. I'm going to do something about this, I tell you, Nora. I'm going to fix that dame if it's the last thing I do.
You're not going to tell her, Freddie Lang. I won't let you do it.
Well, somebody ought to tell her something about it.
Somebody ought to tell who something. Oh, hello, Miss Gibbs. Hello,
Nora. Hi, Gypsy.
Hello, Freddie.
Hey, you really had quite a wait for those drawings, didn't you?
Yeah, I sure did. But it was fascinating to watch Johnny make them.
Yeah?
Yep. I've never seen anything like it before. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, well, you were up early this morning, Miss Gibbs. I guess that's it, Nora. Did Barry Carlton phone? Oh, well, no, Miss Gibbs, he hasn't, not yet.
Well, that's funny. It's kind of late. I wonder if somebody's the matter. Maybe I should call him.
Well, no, Gibbsy, I wouldn't do that.
Why not, Freddie?
Well, because if you want a little advice to the lovelorn Gibbsy, it's... Oh, well, a guy doesn't like the dame he loves to call him up.
He doesn't? Well,
No.
why not?
Well, it's just because
What
he's
Freddie
like...
means is he's probably busy and has work to do, and if you called him, he wouldn't want to do his work.
Yeah, sure, that's all right. That's right. Well, maybe he's out with another girl.
Another girl.
Oh, Freddie. Freddie's only joking, Miss Gibbs.
Yeah, that's right, Gibbsy. You know, me and my sense of humor.
Well, I really can't imagine why he didn't call. He promised me he would, and he's always kept a promise.
Is Peg Martin out with Barry Carlton? Why didn't Barry phone Penny as he promised? Has Peg Martin already begun to turn Barry away from Penny Gibbs? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. KCB. KCB. KCB means Kroger cut beef, and Kroger cut beef means more meat for your money. Right. Kroger cut beef gives you more meat, less waste, because before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Take a Kroger cut round steak or roast, for example. The Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess waste and stringy meat before the steak or roast is weighed and priced. You get a minimum of bone, and you get top U.S. government grades of beef. Beef that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. But visit your neighborhood Kroger store and see for yourself. Remember, whether you buy a steak or a roast, Kroger cut beef gives you more meat for your money. Ladies, make plans right this instant to visit your neighborhood Kroger store, the only place you can buy Kroger cut beef. Surprise and delight your family with a delicious and juicy steak or roast. And remember, in Kroger cut beef, you get more meat for your money, because the Kroger method of cutting beef gives you more meat, less waste. Get Kroger cut beef right away at your neighborhood Kroger store. Be sure to join us again tomorrow, same time, same station, for another thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet. Ladies and gentlemen,
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. A steady flow of heroin has been making its way into your city. Most of it has fallen into the hands of teenagers. You don't know the source or the head man of the operation. Your job? Stop it. The modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. Premium quality in both regular and king size. And we're the only one that gives it to you.
Premium quality in a cigarette means the world's best tobaccos, the best ingredients, the best cigarette paper. Only Chesterfield gives you this premium quality in both popular sizes.
King-size Chesterfield contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king-size cigarette. Well, that's certainly important to every king-size smoker. Of course, it's the same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. There is absolutely no difference, except that king-size Chesterfield gives you more than a fifth longer smoke.
Yes, the modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. Premium quality, both regular and king size.
Chesterfield is much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 6th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of narcotics detail. My partner is Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Kearney. My name's Friday. I'd just gotten off work, and I'd gotten a call from a friend who wanted to see me. It was 5:46 p.m. when I got to my apartment house. Apartment 12.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, Ed. Just getting ready to go in. Come on in.
Got you.
Go ahead.
Thanks.
Sit down.
You got a date or something?
No, it's all right. I just thought I'd get something to eat and then maybe take in the show. What do you want to see me about?
It's about Gary, Joe.
Your boy?
Yeah, I don't know quite how to say it.
Yeah, well, you sounded pretty upset on the phone, Ed.
I was, Joe. I still am. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, come on. What's it all about?
It's all I could do to keep my hands off him. I never felt like that with anybody before, but I did with Gary. I wanted to strangle him.
All right, now what's he done, Ed?
He's a dope addict, Joe.
Well, that's a pretty serious thing to say, Ed. Are you sure about that?
I am now. First, I couldn't believe it, but tonight Ellen and I went through his room. We found this. Here.
Uh-huh.
Open it. See?
Yeah. Looks like a layout.
I couldn't find any drugs in it. I know that he's using them, though.
Spoon, eyedropper, needle. Yeah, everything's here. Where'd you find this, Ed?
In his room. I had it hidden up on the shelf in his closet. I found it tonight. I didn't know what to do, Joe. Helen's been crying all day. She's almost out of her mind. You were the only one I could think of coming to. Who do you talk to when you find out your son's an addict?
Well, now, Ed, are you sure this is his in the first place, that he's been using it?
Yeah, I'm sure. I never would have believed it. Not Gary. There's no reason for it. We'd given the kid everything he wanted. There's nothing he didn't have. Good home. Helen and I have always tried to understand his problems. Always looked at them like they were important. Everything. We gave him everything. Now this. I don't know what to do, Joe. I got no place to turn. There's nothing I can do. Maybe you can figure a way. Maybe you can't. I don't much care anymore. I just know that I can't see him again. Not for a while. I'm afraid, Joe. I'm real afraid.
All right, now, let's take it easy, Ed. We'll work this out some way.
You don't know what it's like, Joe. You can't. To feel like this and to know you'll do it.
What?
I see him again, Joe. I'm going to kill him.
I'd known Ed Field for the past 7 years. I'd met him when we were conducting an investigation while I was assigned to Bunko Division. His testimony had been instrumental in breaking up a gang of shoplifters. Since then, we'd become very good friends. He lived just down the street from my apartment, and on occasion we got together for an evening. I knew his wife, and I'd met his 18-year-old son, Gary. The boy was a senior in high school, and as Ed had told me many times, his grades were well above average. The Field family was moderately well-to-do. Their home wasn't luxurious, but it was good-sized. To look at the boy, there was nothing that would cause anybody to think that he might be a user. 6:12 p.m. Field and I arrived at his home. Helen Field was waiting for us. She was a nice-looking woman in her early 40s. She led us in the house and showed us to the living room. It was obvious that she'd been crying.
I don't know how to thank you for coming over, Joe. I guess Ed told you what it's all about.
Yes, Helen, he did.
Is Gary home yet?
No, I haven't heard a word from him since he left.
I didn't tell Joe what happened this afternoon. Thought it'd be better if he got it from you.
Oh, all right. You want to sit down, Joe?
Sure.
I'll tell you.
Thank you.
Well, Gary came home this afternoon about 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
Walked into the house and went right to his room. He didn't say a thing to me. First, I thought that maybe he might be sick. I went to the room and he'd locked the door. I knocked. Asked him if he was all right.
Yeah.
He called through the door that he was okay and for me to leave him alone. I asked him if there was anything I could do. You know, if he was sick, he might need something.
I understand. What did he say?
Told me to get away. To leave him alone and get off his back. Those were his exact words. Leave him alone and get off his back.
Mm-hmm.
About 20 minutes later, he unlocked the door and came out. He seemed to feel fine. He came over and kissed me and said he was sorry about what he'd said. Said that he hadn't been feeling well and that he'd said those things without meaning them.
Mm-hmm.
I told him that he ought to wait until I could take his temperature. He said there was nothing wrong. For me to get out of his way. That he had some business to take care of and be home for dinner. I tried to stop him from leaving, and he pushed me aside. He knocked me down.
Get my hands on him, I'll teach him.
He stood there for a minute, and I thought he was going to cry. But he just turned around and walked out.
Well, you any idea where he might have gone? What this business was that he was going to take care of?
No, not the slightest idea.
You see what we're up against, Joe. I'm afraid to even see the boy.
Yeah. When did you first figure that he might be using narcotics?
When I came home, Helen told me what had happened. I thought about what would make the kid do a thing like this. The more I thought about it, the more there had to be only one reason. That's when Helen and I went through his room and found that kit.
Mm-hmm. Has the boy been ill at all lately? Under a doctor's care? Something that you might not know about?
No. I'm sure that if he was, we'd know about it.
I want to see you, Gary.
Yeah, I'll be right with you.
I want to see you right now.
You'll have to wait.
Maybe there's something wrong with your ears, son. I'm not going to take that from you.
Please, Ed, don't do something you're going to regret.
Now listen, Helen, that boy's 18 years old. For all that time, we've done everything we could for him. We've given him a lot more than most boys his age have. I'm not going to stand by and see it all blow up just because he's a kid. That's no excuse. I want an answer for all this. What he's been doing, what happened this afternoon. I want those answers, and I want them now.
Remember, he's only a boy.
And I'm getting sick of that, too.
Where is it?
Now, listen, boy, I know what's been going on. I want to talk to you about it.
I don't want you to lecture me. All I want to know is where's the kid.
Take it easy, son.
What are you doing here?
I asked him to come over.
You didn't turn me in, huh?
Your dad asked me to come over and see if I could help here.
I don't need nothing from you, cop. I want the layout. Where is it?
You aren't going to use that anymore.
I want the layout. I got to have it. Where is it?
Please, Gary, don't get your father any more mad than he is.
I don't care how sore he is or how sore he gets. I want the layout. I want it now. I can't think of any more simple way to say it. If I have to take it away from you, then I'll do it your way.
You lousy bum. I'll teach you to talk to me.
All right, take it easy, Ed. This isn't going to get you anywhere now. Come on, settle down, both of you.
Get out of here. Get him out of here. Joe, I swear I'll break him in two.
Please, Ed. Joe, do something.
Let him go. It's about time he found out I'm old enough to call things my way. Go on, let him go. I'm not afraid of him. I'm not afraid of you either, cop. I'm not worried about anybody. All I want is that kit. I got to have it. I got it. I'll give it to me and we can talk then. I got to have it fixed. I got it.
Joe, do something, please.
All right, come on, sit down. Sit down, boy. This has gone far enough here. Let's get a few things straight. You're not going to have any more of that. We'll see that a doctor looks at you. He'll do what he can, but you've had it. No more narcotics for you, now face it. You want me to tell you where you stand? You're a user. Any way you slice it, this had to happen.
I don't want anything from you. Why don't you just leave me alone?
I can't do that. Let me see your arm. Come on, roll up your sleeve.
Do what he says, Gary.
Yeah. Both arms, huh?
I'd take a joy pop once in a
Now,
while.
don't con me, Gary. You got it bad, and it's going to get worse. You didn't get that arm from chipping with the stuff. The kit we found. You don't need to lay out that big to joy pop. You've been mainlining it for quite a while. I know it, and so do you. You holding now? Come on, boy, answer me. You holding now?
Yeah?
Well, let's have it.
I'm not going to give it to you.
You got no choice, son. Either you give it to me or I'll take it.
All right, here it is.
How big a habit you got?
Not big.
How big?
Couple of bucks.
Now, come on, boy. Let's have a straight answer.
25 a day.
$25 a day. That's a lot of narcotics, isn't it?
That's what it takes.
Where's it come from? Come on, who's your connection?
You maybe got me, but I'm not going to be a fink. You got to let me go at that.
I can't do that. Now, where'd you get this stuff?
How about that doctor? You going to do something about
We'll
that?
talk to him.
Talking to him ain't going to do any good. I got to have a fix. I'm going to fall apart. Come on now, be a pal. Let me have a fix. I'll tell you all about it then. You got the kit. You got the stuff. Come on, be a sport.
No
huh?
go. You can't do it. Come on, let's go downtown.
You're going to take him to jail, Joe?
I'll take him down to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. The doctor can look at him there. We're going to have to hold him for a while in this field.
Why'd you do it, Gary? Why? Can't you tell me? Is it something your father and I have done? There's got to be a reason. What is it? Oh, please, Gary, tell me.
Come on, let's get out of here.
Can we see him after he gets there, Joe?
Yeah, I'll call you, Ed.
Don't you want to say goodbye to your mother, son?
Why? It wouldn't prove anything.
Yeah, I guess that's the way you'd look at it.
I broke the law. Now they're going to make a convict out of me. I didn't call him. You did. How are you going to explain that to her? You turn your own son in. How are you going to tell her about it? I hope you're real happy now.
I'm not proud of it, son. There's one thing I'd like to ask.
Yeah.
What have you done to her?
8:30 p.m. I called Frank Smith and filled him in on what had happened. He said that he'd meet me at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. I took young Gary Field down with me and had a doctor check him over. After that, the boy was taken to the narcotics division, and Frank and I talked to him.
I don't know how to tell you any better. Isn't any other way to say it. I'm not going to give you any names.
That's not going to help you any, son.
So it won't help me. Won't get any of my friends in trouble.
Well, you got great friends, haven't you? Now, where'd you get the money to take care of your habit?
I earned it.
Where?
I work.
Where'd you work?
Look, it's getting late. That stuff the doctor gave me didn't do any good. I still need a fix now. I'm getting sick. Do what you got to do. Let's get this over with.
Now, look, this is going to be the same in the morning, son. We're going to keep asking questions till you come up with the right answers.
Look, cop, I don't want any favors from you. Now leave me alone.
We're only trying to help you, boy.
Oh, get off my side. Now, I need nothing from you. You saw your duty and you did it. That makes you a big man, huh? I know you'll both make lieutenant. Now beat it,
All
huh?
right, that's enough of that. Now, there's a couple of things we'd like to set you straight on. Maybe help you to figure where you stand in this.
Oh, here it comes. What do? Give you a license to preach when they hand you the badge?
That's enough of that, youngster.
Come on, get off my back, cop. If my old man hadn't turned thick, you'd never have got me.
Where you going?
I'm getting out of
now,
here.
sit down. Sit down. All right, young fella, you want to be a big man? That's the way it's going to be. I'm going to tell you that you get no special treatment here because I know your parents. You'll be treated just like any other user. You're getting a little of the edge because you're a youngster. There's not a pound of honesty or integrity in your distorted mind. The simple way would be to drop you in a cell and let you sweat out the cure, let you fall apart if you had to. Let me tell you this. We're going to get the connection that's been supplying you. Then we're going to get the man behind him. I don't much care about them, but I do care about the kids around you. You've got a big habit. It takes a lot of money to keep up a habit like that. I've seen kids like you before, and there's only so many ways to get that money. You steal it or you start pushing narcotics yourself. I don't think you're stealing, so you got to be pushing it. That means that you probably got other kids hooked on it. Other youngsters that have got trouble because of you. Mules that are dragging your wagon for you. Your folks will maybe forgive you for what you've done to them, but they'll never be able to buy what you did to the other kids. You had a chance to help yourself and help the rest of them. You had a chance to do something good for somebody else, and you wouldn't take it. Well, you're playing it smart, big boy. Keep playing it that way when you end up in a jail cell, will you?
You through, cop?
Yeah, I'm through.
Fine, let me get some sleep, huh?
Let's go, Frank.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Friends, you'll remember some months ago we read you our first report, the 6 months report on the effects of smoking. Then more recently we read you the 8 months report. Now here is the latest one. The full 10 months report confirms again.
The group examined showed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields.
This from a medical specialist who is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of them have smoked Chesterfield for an average of over 10 years.
After 10 full months, the specialist reports he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield.
That's the report. Buy much milder Chesterfield, regular or king size. The cigarette that's best for you.
Gary Field was taken to the main jail and booked. Frank and I went back to the office to fill out the arrest reports. The next day, Wednesday, April 7th, we began to talk to Gary's friends and teachers. From all of them, we got the same story. Until 6 months before, the boy had been a model student. He was always at the top scholastically in each of his classes. He was a member of several honorary student organizations and had twice been nominated for president of his class. Then, apparently without reason, the boy's personality had changed. He stopped taking an interest in his schoolwork. Several of his teachers told us that he wouldn't have gotten passing grades at the end of the semester. He dropped out of the service organizations at school. From some of his teachers, we got the names of his close friends. Talks with them netted us little. They told us that Gary had dropped out of the crowd of youngsters that he'd been running with and had taken up with new friends. They told us that they didn't see much of him after school, that he'd gotten into fights with other students on several occasions, and that after a period of time, they'd stopped asking him to their functions. None of them were able to give us the names of his new friends. We checked with the neighborhood merchants. Most of them knew Gary. They said that he'd worked for them after school, but they hadn't seen him for several months. We asked them if they could help us locate his friends. They told us that they had seen him in the company of one particular man on several occasions, but they couldn't identify him for us. We got a description of the man, but it meant nothing to us or to the other members of the narcotics division. Photographs of known narcotic suspects were shown to the parents of Gary Field and to the storekeepers around the school. They couldn't identify any of them. 2 days passed. Friday, April 8th. We got a call from the field boy. Frank and I went over to see him.
What'd you want to see us about, Gary?
I wanted to tell you I've had it.
What's that mean?
And I want to tell you about it.
What's the matter? You been sick?
A little. That's not why I called you, though. They treated me all right here, but I got to thinking.
All right, go ahead.
I used to read in the papers where the kids would turn themselves in or get caught and cop out. All about how they realized what they'd done. Always seemed like a lot of phony sob sister stuff. I know different now. I know what I've done. I know I got to stand for it. I'm not asking any favors because I know that I've done nothing to call for. I'm not trying to be a hero or a martyr. I just want to help get this thing cleaned up.
One thing I'd like to know, Gary.
What's that?
What made you get started on this stuff? You seem like a kid that has everything you want. You don't look like a kid who'd fall for it.
Who knows? I'd give you 1,000 reasons they still wouldn't add. I guess I just wanted to be top man all the way around.
How'd you get on it?
Started lushing it up, then the tea, then the heroin. That's the way it runs, isn't it?
Most of the time.
I didn't figure I'd ever be hooked. Thought it couldn't happen to me. How wrong you can be.
How long you had the big habit?
About 6 months. Chippied with it about the same time before then.
Where'd you get the money?
I guess we had to get to that. Huh?
That's right. Where'd you get it?
Well, I got some kids pushing this stuff for me. Worked for a while. Wasn't enough. By that time, the kids were hooked themselves. I was the only connection they had. They had to do business with me or do without it.
Yeah?
I told them that if they couldn't pay me in cash, I'd take merchandise. They'd bring it. I'd sell it. That way we both came out all right. They got their H, I got mine.
You mean you got them to steal, that it?
Yeah, I guess so. I never asked where they got the stuff. I just took it and sold it. With that and the stuff they sold for me, I made out.
These kids pushing H for you?
No. Well, they're shoving tea. I sell it to them for 4 bits a stick. They get up to $1.50 for it.
You know where they peddle it?
No, I never asked. All I was interested in was if I got mine.
All right, give us their names, will you?
Guess that's the only way, huh?
That's the only way.
Okay, I'll give them to you.
How about your connection? Who's he?
Guy named Jack?
Jack who?
I don't know, honest. I really don't.
Where'd you meet him?
Drive-in downtown.
Where?
Drive-in at the corner of Reno and Vernon.
How do you set up the meet?
I just go in there between 10 and midnight, park the car and order coffee. He comes over to the car.
You mean that he's always there at that time, huh?
Usually is.
So your only source?
Yeah.
Anyone else pushing it around there?
No, as far as I know. I think he's the only one in the operation.
All right, you'd be willing to arrange a meet with him so we can pick him up?
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right, fine.
Sure want to see the folks. I got so much to make up for.
That's right, you have.
Don't think I'll live long enough to do it all.
9 9:32 a.m., we got a description of the suspect known as Jack and also the names and addresses of the teenagers involved. Frank and I contacted the juvenile authorities and gave them the information. We went back to our office and had Gary Field check our files of known narcotic suspects. He was unable to give us an identification on Jack. 11:56 a.m., we took the boy to his home and talked with his parents. 12:30 p.m., Frank, Gary Field, and I drove to the corner of Vernon and Reno to check over the drive-in restaurant. It was set up in the usual way with a parking area around the main building for car service. In the rear of the lot was a building housing a cocktail bar, and there were parking spaces in front of that for the bar customers. As we drove past the place, Gary told us that he usually parked around the side of the main building and that this Jack came from the direction of the bar. He was unable to tell us whether the suspect drove a car or not. The plan was for Gary to introduce me as a narcotics buyer who was trying to get a local connection. It was agreed that because of the size of the buy I was to make, it would be necessary for me to deal with the head of the organization. 11:05 p.m., Gary and I got into my car and we drove to the drive-in. Frank followed us in a police unit. We arrived at the meet at 11:14 p.m. Frank stayed in the background and we waited. The suspect failed to make an appearance. The next night, the plan was repeated. Again, nothing. Sunday, April 10th, 10:05 p.m. We arrived at the drive-in. We waited. 11:05 p.m., 11:15, 11:30. No sign of the suspect. Midnight, 12:04 p.m.
Looks like he isn't going to be here.
Thought you said he usually showed up, didn't you?
I don't know what happened. He was always here before.
You sure you got the right drive-in?
Look, Mr. Friday, I know what you're thinking, but I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, you know all this is kind of tough to buy, don't you? 3 nights and he isn't here.
I don't understand. He was always here before. Wait a minute.
Yeah?
Hold it. Yeah, that's him, coming over from the bar.
All right, which one? There's a couple of people coming out there.
The big one. Seeing the gray suit, hat?
Yeah. You sure that's this Jack?
Positive, Mr. Friday.
All right, now you look. You know what you're going to do. Don't let on that anything's wrong here. Remember that nothing's going to happen to you.
I'll remember.
All right, now hold on. He's coming over.
Hi, kid.
Hi, Jack. Been looking for you. Where you been?
All right. Who's your friend?
Oh, yeah, I want to talk to you about him. Wants to do business with you.
What are you talking about? What business?
Look, Jack, he's all right. I know it. Think I'd have brought him here if I didn't know it?
Oh, he's all right. He's a friend of yours. You know the bit, any friend of yours. I don't know what to talk about business is. I don't know what you're doing here, but I'm here for a cup of coffee.
Better let me talk to him alone.
What are you trying to prove, bringing the guy here? Who is he?
Friend of mine.
Told you once. I told you 1,000 times. Don't ever bring nobody with you. Haven't I told you, huh?
Oh, yeah, but he's okay. He wants to make a buy, a big one.
Crazy kid. You told him about it?
Look, he's okay now. I know it. Look, Jack, we both stand to do all right from this. I kind of figured if he bought from you, you might give me a little piece of it. You know, sort of say thanks for the business.
How long you know this guy?
Long time.
How long?
A couple of years.
How come I never seen him before?
He doesn't hang around this part of town.
What's he doing here now?
Like I said, trying to make a buy.
Where'd you meet him?
Before I met you, I used to buy stuff from him. He moved out of town, went up north, does business up there. Last couple of days, I couldn't get in touch with you. I ran into him. He fixed me up. And then he told me he wanted to buy. Right away, I thought of you.
All right, I'll talk to him. But I ain't making no deal.
You just talk to him. You'll find out everything's okay.
All right. You let me do the talking.
Joe, this is Jack, the fellow I was telling you about.
Hi.
Hi. Kidder tells me you're down on business, all right?
Yeah, I'm looking around.
Nice place, L.A. A lot of business to do here. What line you?
Whatever pays me.
Where you from?
Up north.
Mm-hmm. How long you known Gary here?
Now, you listen to me. I haven't got all night to stand around here and guzzle his stale coffee with you. The kid told you what I want. Now it boils down to one simple question. You want to do business or don't you?
Going kind of fast, aren't you?
I haven't got a lot of time.
I don't like to deal that way.
All right, kid, let's get out of here. Should have known better than to figure on dealing with a small-time operator. I told you that before.
What do you mean by that?
You read it any way you want. Well, let's go, son. See you around, mister.
Hey, hold on. No need to get sore about it. Just have to be careful. You know how it is.
Now, you listen. I was shoving horse when you were playing with marbles. I've outgrown the kid games. I thought I could make a buy. I see I was wrong.
Maybe not.
What?
I said maybe we could do business.
I gotta have it tonight.
How much you need?
I need an ounce. It's gotta be good.
Mm-hmm. I haven't got that much with me.
How much have you got?
I only got 12 bindles with me.
How much?
You gotta understand this is good stuff.
How much?
Now, look, this is better than you can find anyplace else.
All right, let's quit playing, huh? What's the tab on it?
$10 a bundle.
All right, I'll take the 12. How soon can you have the rest of it?
When do you want it?
I told you I was in a hurry. Don't you hear good?
Yeah, maybe tomorrow night.
All right, that'll have to do. If it's good quality, I may want some more. How much can you supply?
How much do you need?
Oh, I'll go maybe another ounce.
Mm-hmm. You got the cash for this?
I don't do business any other way.
Wait here, I'll be back.
It's all right, isn't it, Mr. Frank?
Yeah, Gary, everything's fine.
You see where he's going?
No, it's too dark. Don't you worry about it. Frank will see where he goes.
I'll be glad when this is over.
All right, hold it.
Okay, mister, let's see the money.
I got it right here. Let's see the horse.
You got it?
All right, looks all right. Here.
You don't mind if I count this?
No, go right ahead. It's all there. $120, isn't that what you said?
Just to make sure.
Yeah.
50, 70, 90, 110, 120. Yeah, all right, it's all here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow night, huh?
Yeah, sure.
I want to tell you, it's nice to do business with you. It's been a real pleasure.
Well, it works both ways, mister.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope to see a lot more of you.
You will. You're under arrest.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 29th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. In 1952, American smokers bought more Chesterfields than ever before in the history of the industry. Today, sales continue to mount for two big reasons. Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size. Only Chesterfield gives you this scientific evidence on the effects of smoking. As we told you earlier, after 10 months, the group examined showed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields. Change to Chesterfield yourself. Regular or king size, Chesterfield is much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Gary Richard Field, because of his cooperation, was placed in a hospital for rehabilitation and at the conclusion of his treatment was placed on 3 years probation. The other juveniles involved were handled through the juvenile court and received sentences comparable with his. Jack Alexander Williams was tried and found guilty of violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony, and was sentenced to the state penitentiary for the term as prescribed by law. Violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony, is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not more than 6 years in a state prison. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Harry Bartell, Virginia Gregg, Eddie Firestone. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show Tuesday night on the same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield, either regular or king size. You'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, it's Adventure with Barry Craig, confidential investigator on NBC.
This one's about Pete Kelly. It's about the world he goes around in. It's about the big music and the big troubles and the big 20s. So when they ask you, tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's Blues. Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Jim Moser and music by Dick Cathcart.
My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. You'll find us at 417 Cherry Street, Kansas City. It's a standard speakeasy. We got 35 cases of cut whiskey and a 7-piece band. We start every night at 10 and we play till 6 in the morning. It's not much, but the contract runs out in June 1924. After that, there's a place in South Chicago that may take us. In the meantime, we're working here on Cherry Street. The lease is made out to George Lupo. His brother gave it to him after the funeral. The kind of music we play started out as a backroom exercise in a little swamp stop called Myrtle Grove. LaRocca took his Dixieland band to Reisenweber's in New York. We got as far as Kansas City. It's no place to get off a train unless you're a sack of mail. Because around here, everybody works at the same job, staying alive. $50 buys a pair of socks, a spaghetti dinner, or a down payment on murder. Well, last night, everything turned sour about midnight. The town was down on its hands and knees trying to crawl through one of those Kansas City hot spells that blast by every third day. It was heat and headaches all the way. Our drummer, Nick, was dragging the beat, and I went bad 12 bars in on the Memphis Blues. So I figured we'd better cut the set short, so we started to fight our way through one chorus of Roses of Picardy. That's when the kid came in and stood by the bandstand. He was tall enough to see over a quart of milk with a face the size of a minute and just about as young. All right, let's get off for a while.
Who's your friend, Pete?
I don't know, but he must be tone deaf.
Mr. Kelly! Mr. Kelly!
Yeah, son.
I heard you play. You sound good.
We've been better. What's on your mind?
Father Cronin sent me to see you.
Are you doing a little missionary work?
Oh, no, sir, nothing like that. I'm an altar boy over there. Father calls me Little Jake.
I sure got you working the late shift.
I've been trying to get a hold of you all day. Father wants a favor.
Well, make it a small one. I'm all out of the big one.
And he just wanted to know if you could come by St. Timothy's and see him. He said tomorrow morning right after the 9 o'clock.
Okay. Tell him he keeps terrible hours. I'll be there.
Thanks, Mr. Kelly.
Pete Kelly?
Yeah, that's right.
Tell the kid goodbye.
He knows his way out.
Should I go, Mr. Kelly?
Beat it, kid.
Yes, sir. Goodbye, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, goodbye, Kate.
You got someplace private? We'd like to talk.
This is my office.
Now listen hard, Bright Eyes. There's enough gun in this coat to blow you right through the wall.
I'll take your word for it.
We coming in nice and you get funny mouth. Now you got someplace we can talk?
I can't leave. I got to do a number.
Do it. We'll be right here about 10 feet from your stomach.
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
You look sick, Pete. What's the matter?
I feel fine. Who's sorry now? Everybody ready? Let's go.
You proved it. Now let's go.
Yeah. Keep them going, Red.
How many shall we do, Pete?
If this works out, about 10 minutes worth. Let's go.
The alley will do. We need a favor, Kelly.
Yeah, there's a run on them tonight.
Give me the envelope, Dix.
Yeah.
You got an inside coat pocket, Kelly?
Come on. Either throw or pass the dice.
Hold him, Dix. Pull him up, Dix.
Come on. Up.
Yeah. Now, this is how. Here's an envelope. It goes in your inside coat pocket, and it stays there until 6 o'clock tomorrow night. You don't open it, you don't mess with it.
What happens at 6 o'clock?
You'll be the first to know.
Well, I stood there in the alley and watched them walk away. Inside, Lupo was blowing up a storm. Something about paying for a 7-piece band and only having 6. Well, it wasn't worth trying to get back on the stand. I got a cab and went up to my room. I tried to get to sleep. It was no good. I got up. I was sick to my stomach. After that, I went to sleep. The next morning, I made a pass at some breakfast and tried to look through the sports page. Harry Heilman got 4 for 5 against the Red Sox, but that's all I read. That envelope had me. People have been taken out in alleys before, and they've been worked over, usually to get something away from them, not to give it to them. No matter how I tried to put it together, it wouldn't come out. Thin or fat, it wouldn't slice. I had the envelope, and I had to wait till 6 o'clock. Well, I gave up on the coffee, and I started over to see Father Cronin. It was a little after 9:30 when I started up the steps of St. Timothy's. I figured Mass was almost over, so I hung around in the vestibule for a couple of minutes, trying to look like a part-time bell ringer.
Hi, Mr. Kelly.
Hello, Jake.
Father's back in the sacristy, Mr. Kelly. He said for me to show you the way.
They move it?
No, sir.
All right, Jake. Show me the way.
This way, Mr. Kelly. Down this aisle.
Well, I guess I was too busy trying to act like I knew my way around to pay much attention to a fat, chunky little guy wearing a brown Borsalino hat. He stood up in a back pew a couple of aisles over. The church was empty except for the 3 of us. Little Jake found out about it just before I did.
Mr. Kelly, that man back there.
All right, mister. I'll take that envelope.
Jake, get out.
Mr. Kelly, look out! Look out!
Well, in Kansas City, you learn early to look for trouble. Any place, any time. But this is the first time it caught up with me in the middle of a church. The last 3 shots were a waste of money. Jake went down like young wheat in a hailstorm. When I grabbed for him, I hit my head in the base of a marble pillar. I lost the edge right there. By the time I hit the street, he was gone. I guess I covered every alley and street in the neighborhood. But it was like trying to wash a pail of dirty water. I don't know how much later it was when I stopped for a minute in an empty doorway and tried to remember what I was chasing. Well, a siren was crying off somewhere in the distance, and I started back for the church. The coroner's wagon was just pulling away as I got there. I didn't see Father Cronin around, so I went back to the rectory and rang the bell. He came to the door in his shirt sleeves. He stood there for a minute just looking at me. And then he motioned me inside.
In here. Sit down.
The kid, Father, little Jake.
He's dead. You want a blow-by-blow?
Yeah, I know, Father. I was there.
Sure you were there. You're always there. I should have known better than to call you. I should have known it meant trouble.
Oh, wait a minute, Father. This wasn't my party.
I called you here today to ask you a favor, Pete.
Yeah, I know.
You don't know. It's too late now. We were going to have an altar boys picnic tomorrow at Washington Park. I wanted you to play a little music for us. We won't be going now, Pete. We got a funeral instead.
Yeah. What do you want me to say?
Don't say anything, Pete. If you've got any private fights, that's your business. But don't bring your beefs into the church.
I never saw the guy before, Father.
Don't kid me. He didn't come in here to shoot little Jake.
Now, look, I know this is hard to understand.
You bet it's hard to understand. We've been over it before, but you ran with the same pack. You hung on to the same friends. You had it all figured out. Well, you figured this one, Pete. There's a 9-year-old boy on his way to the morgue. He took a gangster's bullet that you earned. Now you go ahead. Figure it.
I got this envelope.
I don't want an explanation. Take your excuses and peddle them where you need them. To the bootleggers and the gunmen. Take them to your crowd.
This envelope, Father, they shoved it in my pocket. I was out in the alley behind the club. 2 guys. They worked me over. I didn't think they'd try anything like this.
Neither did little Jake.
All right, Father, I told you I was sorry.
Go on home.
Why don't you stop cutting at me and say a prayer for that kid?
I would, but I'm too busy praying for people like you.
Well, you couldn't blame him. How do you explain away a dead kid lying in front of an altar rail? All I could offer was a 2-cent envelope in my coat pocket and a wild night in an alley. I started to walk back to my room. I tried to paste up some kind of an answer, but I got nothing. I was halfway home when the last breeze left town and went someplace to cool off. My clothes were soaking wet, and I decided to take a cab the rest of the way. I reached in my pocket, and all I had was 23 cents, so I kept walking. Sunday morning's the same in any town. Empty streets and everybody home trading the comic section and living off a Saturday night. You could live here all your life, and on Sunday morning you just got in town. It was about noon when I got to my hotel. I went up to the second floor and unlocked my door. They were sitting on the bed. Their coats were off, and they'd hung them on the back of a chair. The same two boys who'd given me the envelope last night.
Got a real hot room here, Kelly. You want to move off this cord.
Yeah, next time I'll get twin beds.
Is everything all right with that envelope?
It made a murder, mister. You take it.
Put it back in your pocket.
Now get this, both of you. There's a lot of something wrong here. I've had my turn. You find yourself another fall guy. There's a lot of inside coat pockets in this town. Look for a new one.
We like yours, and that's where it's going to stay. Now, you don't listen good. Me and Dex put it out last night, and you didn't pick up on it. We got you on board, and we'll tell you when to get off.
6 o'clock, boy. How long do you think this jag will last? Look, I'm cashing in. I've had enough.
What were you doing this morning, trying to pray your way out?
The priest wanted a favor.
I got it, Lon.
Yeah, he's in. No, he's busy. From 2 to 5. Sure, come on up. Benny.
He went for it, huh?
On his way up. We're going to stay a while, Kelly. Well, there's only 3 chairs. I'll make it easy for you.
Stay put, mister.
No, he's your friend. I'm checking out.
First time you've been right.
Well, it happened so fast I didn't even see his arm move. My knees buckled and I pitched forward. I don't know how long I laid there, but when I opened my eyes, the afternoon sun was almost gone. What was left of it was bleeding through a rip in the blind. Well, I could hear somebody breathing hard like a fat man on a hot day, and when I rolled over, I saw him. A tough prohibition agent by the name of Cage. The weather didn't make any difference to Cage. He always looked that way. His collar was wilted, and it looked like Arrow's first try. His necktie was pulled down, and the knot was twisted. The heat had worked him over so that the front of his shirt was splotchy and damp. Reminded you of a first grader's map of the world. He was sitting in a chair with his arms draped over the back and his head resting on his hands. He was smoking a Milo Violet, but it didn't help that much. His mouth was wound around a toothy grin, and he looked like a mountain lion who'd just eaten her young.
You can get up now, Kelly. You made your point.
Yeah, sure. How long you been here?
Long enough to fill out your booking slip. You're going to jail, mister.
What for? Sleeping on the floor?
For the dead guy on the bed. Who is he?
I don't know. How'd he get there?
You put him there after you shot him. Now get your hat.
Look, Prohibition's your racket. Dead bodies are out of your line.
Not when I find him in your room. Now let's go downtown. We'll both tell homicide. We'll find the details later.
Gage, you couldn't find yourself in a mirror. I didn't have anything to do with this, and you know it. I've been out for the last 3 hours. This happened after they slugged me.
Save it for the jury. All I know is I got a phone tip to check room 205. I come up here and I find you and a dead guy. That's all I need. You can dress it up fancy and make it look cute, but it still comes out murder.
There's enough liquor in this town to float it away, and you're wasting your time with a killing that's none of your business.
You're my business, big shot. Somebody put 2 pounds of lead in Benny's chest, and you're my pick.
Benny who?
Benny Davis. He worked for Mike Quinlan. You look pale.
Yeah, I'm just beginning to feel the squeeze. Mike Quinlan on one side and those 2 trigger men that you let walk out of here on the other.
You got it, and I'll be turning the handle.
Now, before you start worrying about your picture in the paper, you better turn up the 2 guys that were here with me.
That part of the same dream?
They gave me an envelope to hold for them. The price on it's going up by the minute. A 9-year-old kid died for it, and this guy here on the bed.
That's a good story. Do you write him down or just make him up?
Look, you got nothing on me, and I haven't got much time. I'm leaving you.
That's all right. I call downtown. The minute you hit the street, they'll pick you up.
In the meantime, you better come up with more than you got. They don't hang you in this state on a hunch.
I'm going to check this room over. I'll find all we need.
You couldn't find your head with both hands. Goodbye, Cage.
All right, you got till midnight, big shot, and then I'll be around.
Yeah.
I'll have it all set up. All we'll need is time to run the extra.
Well, I could have used a cold shower, but with Cage there, I didn't have the room to dry off. I went down the hall and headed down the back stairs. I figured even if Cage was right about calling downtown, I might have an edge if I moved fast enough. The sun was on the downgrade, but it didn't make any difference. It'd done a good job all day, and the heat was boiling up out of the ground. But if I was going to come out at all, I had to have some help. So I started to look for the only honest guy I know, an ex-bootlegger by the name of Barney Ricketts. The only bootlegger in the country that went broke in 1922. He drank himself out of business. I phoned 8 different places and tried 4. Nobody'd seen him. I was about ready to give up when I finally found him sitting in the middle of a bourbon fog in a little Spanish joint somewhere on the edge of the East Bottoms. He was sitting at a back table trying his best to make time with a plaster bust of Queen Isabella.
Hi,
P.T., my boy, you're just in time. I'm not quite certain, but I think the young lady here has a friend.
I gotta talk to you, Barney.
If you're any good at all with Spanish, now is the time. I was positive she'd loosen up on this second bottle of wine, but no, she's utterly uncharitable, and I think she's a picture of a perfect boy.
Yeah, all right, Barney.
To a member of the old Castilian school, there can be no excuse for the conduct she's exhibiting.
Yeah.
Why, do you know I was even good enough to buy her 3 rounds of Portuguese brandy? Imported, mind you. But what do I get for my pains? Not even a civil thank you.
All right, listen to me, will you, Barney?
I've been sitting here in the most gentlemanly fashion, sipping this delicate nectar and trying vainly to keep the party going. But does she help? No! I've talked to her about politics, medicine, literature, Keats, Byron, Shelley, Faith Baldwin. I've even talked about the weather.
Barney, she's a statue.
Oh, a simple oversight, P.T. It could happen to anyone.
Now, look, I'm in trouble.
Of course you're in trouble. You'll always be in trouble because you're a child of adversity, a son of scorn. The fate spit in your eye and you try to retaliate, but the wind's always blowing in the wrong direction. You're a lost leaf in the mortal storm, Petey. You're a pebble shaking a tiny fist at the mountain. You'd like to fight for some strange, fantastic cause, wouldn't you? But you can't find anybody your size. Men are too small and the gods are too big. Petey, you're lost.
Are you all through now?
Yes. What kind of trouble?
A pair of bum murder raps. Somebody slugged me in my room, and I woke up with a dead guy.
Dubious honor. You mentioned 2 murders.
One of them was an altar boy over at St. Timothy's. The other guy worked for Mike Quinlan.
The same Quinlan that controls most of the Canadian import here in town?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, time's short. Let's finish the brandy.
2 guys started all this at the club last night. Names are Ludd and Dex. Mean anything to you?
This'll all sound better with more brandy. You picked 2 of Quinlan's first string. Ludd Sandell and Dex Porter, both killers.
Look, they gave me an envelope to hang on to. Now, nose around. See if you can find out what it all means. The dead guy up in my room, his name's Benny Davis. See if you can find out where he fits in, will you?
It'd be a lot simpler if you just joined Quinlan's gang. Benny Davis holds a card in the same organization.
Well, how about Ludd and Dex? Any bad blood between them and
If
Davis?
there is, it doesn't show. They're closer than unborn peas.
You sure about that, Barney?
Police blotter can't be that wrong. Benny's sister will tell you the same thing.
Where do I find her?
Chelsea Apartments. Beautiful girl, Petey. When you're my age, she'll disturb your memories.
All right, now get going, will you? See how close you can get to Quinlan's headquarters. Find out what you can about Ludd and Dex and Benny Davis. Maybe Quinlan's got him on a special job or something. Find out what it is, will you?
You'll find me in a temporary economic slump, Petey. I'll need car fare.
Yeah, well, that makes 2 of us. I'm broke. You'll have to do it on foot.
Oh, well, I have friends here, and my credit's unlimited.
Well, hurry up, will you, Barney?
One moment. Alfonso, would you loan me $1.50?
Come on, let's go.
He's only bluffing. He won't shoot.
Well, Barney headed down toward Bale Street from Mike Quinlan's place, and I started cross town for the North End and the Chelsea Apartments. I couldn't begin to work it out. If Dex and Ludd were such good friends with Benny Davis, why did they kill him? And if they didn't do it, who planted his body in my room and why? Well, I was running way late, and there wasn't much time to catch up. I finally found the Chelsea Apartments on the corner of Stocker and Bales. It was an old 3-story wooden frame. I checked the mailbox, and Louise Davis was down for apartment 17. Well, inside, the hallway was dark, and a couple of gas jets were smoking up the ceiling. There was a potted palm by the foot of the stairs, and it looked like it was growing out of old gum wrappers and cigar butts. Apartment 17 was at the rear of the first floor. She answered the door, and you could tell right away Barney was right. She was pretty, and she had enough smile to last you for years.
Yes?
You Louise Davis?
That's right. I can do better for you. You're Pete Kelly. I've heard you play.
Yeah, well, so far you're batting 1,000. Can I come in?
Yeah, sure. You didn't bring your band, so it must be a social call.
I'll make this short. It's about Benny.
What about him?
That's what I want to know. He's got a couple of friends. I got to know about him.
Benny isn't that popular. You mean Ludd and Dex?
They'll do. They got trouble, and they're cutting me in.
What kind of trouble?
No, I'm not sure. That's why I came to you.
I can't help you. They never tell me what they're doing.
Well, they gave me an envelope. They told me to hold it till 6 o'clock tonight.
You haven't got any problem. You'll know in an hour.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm tired. I want to know now. I'll take any leads you got.
They found out I told you this. They might not like it. They got some kind of a beef with Quinlan.
Does Mike know about it?
I wouldn't know. I just heard him talking one night. They're not happy with the money Quinlan gives them.
They got any plans?
I don't think we've got to talk about this. Let me get you a drink, huh?
Now, look, this is the last trip around for me, lady. I got to have everything you know.
You said something about an envelope, didn't you?
That's right.
You got it?
Right here.
If you open it, you'll understand everything.
Well, they gave it to me sealed. They want it back the same way.
If you want to be around to give it back, you'd better open it.
You got a guarantee handy?
All I know is the 3 of them are working on something big. I don't know what it is, but I heard some talk about an envelope. It's your choice. You asked for a lead and you got it.
Yeah, we'll hold hands when they cut me down. You got to let her open it?
Pete, look out!
Well, it all happened faster than a Mexican divorce. Louise Davis was dead before the echo left the room. Well, I got to the window, but whoever did the shooting was gone. I grabbed the envelope, and on my way out, I took another look at her. There wasn't anything left but the smile. I cut through a couple of back lots and down an alley. I stopped in a doorway and opened the envelope. Inside was a handful of typewritten sheets. Looked like a lot of headache for 5 pieces of paper. And then the bell rang. 2 of them were consignment slips for 8,000 gallons of high-grade Canadian whiskey. The other 3 slips were detailed breakdowns for a convoy of trucks. They showed special truck routes over the Canadian border into the States to miss the hijackers and the prohibition agents. They showed a day-by-day schedule for each truck on its trip down from the border. Well, it's not too tough to hijack a load of booze, but when you got it laid out right down to the time, the place, and how many bottles, it's like money in the bank. Well, I knew right then why the envelope meant so much to Ludd and Dex. What I couldn't understand was where they got it. Why they gave it to me to hang on to. Well, maybe they were working for Quinlan, but why didn't he have the papers, and why weren't they in his safe? Mike had a big one. Well, the questions were still piling up. There was an outside chance, but I couldn't stand still, so I crossed over to the Kansas side and headed down Boulder Road to Fat Annie's place. Maggie Jackson did 2 things good. She sang the blues better than the guy who wrote them, and she could pick up an idle rumor at 3 miles.
Hi, Pete.
Maggie, what do you know?
I knew you'd be here tonight. You always come in together. Trouble and Pete Kelly.
Yeah, I know. I never come around except when I need something.
As long as I have it to give, you got it. It's Mike Quinlan this time, ain't it?
Well, that's part of it. I'm in it up to my ears.
You got an envelope, I heard.
Yeah?
Mike Quinlan and some of his boys have been here about an hour ago. They tore the paper off the walls looking for you and Dex and Ludd.
Dex and Ludd?
Mike wants all 3 of you.
Yeah? Anything else?
No. Bonnie Ricketts called for you.
Did he leave a number?
He's still waiting on the phone. I took the call. He said you'd end up here, so he just hung on.
Well, I'll get it right now.
Yeah, the boss is kind of mad. The phone's been tied up for 2 hours.
All right, thanks, Maggie.
Sure, and good luck, Pete.
Hello, Bonnie?
There you are, Phoebe.
That'll be $1.25 for another 3 minutes.
Yes, all right, operator. Alfonso, 5 more quarters, please. No, the quarters. Just a minute, Petey. Alfonso doesn't know the quarters from the house.
Yeah, well, hurry up.
Thank you.
Now then, Pete. No, Alfonso, no more money for the moment.
What's going on, Bonnie? Where are you?
Fort Madison, Iowa. I'm troubleshooting for you, Pete.
Well, what'd you find out?
It's a double cross. Mike Quinlan's involved in one of the biggest deals of his career, and Benny Davis, along with Dex and Ludd, stole the consignment papers.
Yeah, I know. That's what's in the envelope.
You better get them back to Quinlan. I understand he's been tearing up the town for him.
Well, what do I do about Dex and Ludd?
She might easily end up like Benny Davis. Seems Ludd and Dex didn't want to split it 3 ways, so they killed him.
You sure about all this?
That's why I'm up here in Iowa. I suggest that you join us.
No, I'll see you when you get back.
It's in a gay, mad world, Petey. We drove 60 miles an hour all the way up here.
Yeah?
Alfonso's drunk. He thinks the phone's a slot machine. He's waiting for the payoff.
Well, as soon as I hung up the phone, everything fell into place. I had one big worry, to get back to the club and unload those papers before Quinlan caught up with me. Well, almost everything made sense now except the killing of Louise Davis, Benny's sister. It was easy to see why they dropped Benny along the way, but why his sister? How did she tie in? Well, on the way back to town, I mulled over a couple of possibilities, and I figured maybe I came up with the answer. I started back for town, and it was rough all the way. I kept thinking any minute I'd bump into Mike Quinlan, and I couldn't be sure that I'd lost Dex and Ludd. It was almost dark by the time I got back to the club. The band was waiting around for the Sunday rehearsal. We ran through one number, and then things got cloudy.
Now, Kelly.
You're early, Dex.
Close enough.
No, not for me. You said 6 o'clock.
Your horn's no match for this gun. Give me the envelope.
6 o'clock, Dex. All right. Let's try someday, sweetheart. Hand me that plunger, will you, Red? I'll give you the pickup. way you handled Louise Davis?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you do. You killed her and you killed her brother.
You got it all figured out, haven't you,
Go
Kelly?
on, players right, Dex. Don't turn around.
You got it wrong, Lud.
I don't think so. I never should have let you kill Benny. That should have been the tip-off, and that kid in the church and Benny's sister. You had to make the big try.
Was for me and you, Lud.
It won't wash. You're going to die, Dex. Pick a spot to lay down.
Not in the back, Lud. You'd give me a better chance than that.
Would I?
Look out, Lud.
Like I said, Dex, pick a spot. Well, that wraps it up, Kelly.
You better sit down, Lud.
No, this'll do. It won't be a long wait. I don't mind standing.
Suit yourself. 6 o'clock, Lud. Here's your envelope.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hello, Pete.
Hi, Father.
Just going to stop by. I heard the gunshots. I knew you'd be around.
Well, let me tell you again, Father. I'm sorry about Jake. I don't know what else to say. I'm just sorry.
I believe you. We'll have the funeral for little Jake tomorrow. Maybe you want to stop by.
Yeah. Some things never figure. A 9-year-old kid shot down. No reason for it. None in the world. 9-year-old kid.
It's done, Pete. Don't waste your pity on little Jake. He's got a big lead on both of us.
I don't get you, Father.
You and I should die as good as a 9-year-old.
Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Jim Moser and music by Dick Cathcart. Scoring by Matty Matlock.
The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven consists of Dick Cathcart on cornet, Matty Matlock on clarinet, Nick Fatul on drums, Ray Sherman on piano, George Van Ness on guitar, Judd Donat on bass, Mo Schneider on trombone. The songs of Maggie Jackson were written by Arthur Hamilton. Pete Kelly's Blues is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the first and only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to auto theft detail. A gang of car strippers has been operating in your city. From their M.O., you know they're professionals. They move fast. Your job? Get them. Friends, you'll remember some months ago we read you our first report, the 6 months report on the effects of smoking. Then more recently we read you the 8 months report. Now here is the latest one. The full 10 months report confirms again
The group examined showed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields.
This from a medical specialist who is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of them have smoked Chesterfield for an average of over 10 years.
After 10 full months, the specialist reports he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield.
That's the report. Buy much milder Chesterfield, regular or king size. The cigarette that's best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, August 5th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of auto theft detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Nelson. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from the telephone booth, and it was 10:23 p.m. when I got to the parking lot. Our car.
You called in?
Yeah, they haven't hit tonight so far.
What's the time now?
A little after 10:30. Parking lot's about empty.
Yeah. The attendant left a few minutes ago.
Frank?
Yeah, I see him.
Over there going for that Cadillac.
Yeah. You got a good look at him?
No, it's too dark. He's forcing the door. Come on.
Right. All right, hold it up there. He's in the car, Joe. All right, hold it up. He isn't going to stop. He's heading for that intersection. He'll never get through. Come on. It looks pretty bad, Joe.
Yeah, he really cracked into that Dodge, didn't he? All right, let us through, please.
Come on, please let us through.
I'll check the Cadillac.
Right, I'll get the other car.
Okay.
The three people in that Dodge are lucky. Doesn't look too bad. I'll call the ambulance.
Yeah, we'll tell them to hurry. I don't think this one's going to wait. 10:46 p.m. The ambulance arrived, and after emergency treatment at the scene, the victims were removed to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. A traffic car had been dispatched to investigate the accident. Upon arrival at the emergency hospital, we were informed that the suspect had died on the way. The dead body was identified by his personal effects as Charles Roxford, age 16. The Juvenile Bureau was contacted, and they requested that in the course of our investigation, we notify the boy's family. 11:27 p.m. Frank and I drove out to the address listed on the victim's identification. It was a house above the Sunset Strip. We rang the bell and waited.
I'll try it again.
Yeah.
Somebody's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Mrs. Roxford?
That's right. What is it?
Police officers, ma'am. We'd like to talk to you.
Police? Well, come in. I don't know what you want with us, but come in.
Thank you.
Come into the living room.
Thank you very much.
Now, sit down. What is it?
There's been an accident, Mrs. Roxford.
An accident?
Yes, ma'am. Pretty bad one.
What's this got to do with me?
Well, you see, ma'am, your boy was... Joe?
Well, we're sorry to have to tell you this, ma'am, but your boy was in an accident tonight.
Charles?
Yes, ma'am.
You said it was a bad accident.
Yes, ma'am, we did.
How bad? How bad?
Your son's dead, ma'am.
Charles? Charles Roxford. You're sure you have the right house?
Yes, ma'am. We're sorry, Miss Roxford.
Oh. Charles, he was only a baby. Just a baby. Oh, you're sure there's no mistake? You're sure?
Afraid not, ma'am.
How did it happen?
Well, it was an automobile accident, ma'am.
In an automobile?
Yes, ma'am. Your boy was driving a car.
Oh, but Charlie doesn't have a car. He doesn't drive.
Your boy was driving a stolen car, Mrs. Roxford.
What?
Your son had a stolen car, ma'am. He was trying to get away.
Well, that's not true.
Afraid it is, ma'am.
No. You're lying to me. Charles wouldn't do a thing like that.
Afraid that's the way it is, ma'am.
Oh. That's terrible.
I can't believe that Charlie'd do something like that. I thought I knew him. I didn't think he'd do anything like that. Well, did you see it? The accident. Were you there?
Yes, ma'am, we were.
How did it happen?
Well, he'd stolen the car, ma'am. He tried to escape. He ran the car out into a crowded street. One of the cars in the traffic didn't have time to stop. Your boy ran right into it.
Wasn't there something you could do to stop him?
Well, we tried, ma'am. We yelled at him. He almost ran us down.
You know where your boy was tonight, Mrs. Roxford?
No. No, he had dinner and then said he was going out. I thought he was going to a show or something. Mm-hmm. No, I didn't know where he was going.
Did he leave the house alone?
Yes. Left right after dinner, about 8. Said he'd be back later. Said he'd see me later. Then he left.
Is there anything we can get for you, Mrs. Roxford?
No, nothing.
Where's your husband, ma'am?
I guess he's at his office. He sells insurance. Said he had to meet a client tonight. I don't know what he's going to do when he hears about this. Going to hit him awfully hard. Awfully hard.
Yes, ma'am.
He and the boy were very close. I don't know what he's going to do when he hears about it.
Did the boy give you any idea during dinner as to what he was going to do after he left?
No, he didn't. I didn't talk much to him.
Ma'am?
You see, I wasn't here. I was out most of the afternoon. I didn't get home till just before he left. He just finished dinner and then he left.
I see.
I was at the bridge club. I always go on Tuesdays. Oh, if I'd only known what was going to happen. Am I going to see him?
Well, we want either you or your husband to identify him, ma'am.
Charlie, he's dead. Just a baby, just a little boy. You were there. You could have done something. You're police officers. Isn't that your job?
Beg your pardon?
Well, isn't it your job to help people, to do something when they're in trouble?
Well, yes, ma'am, I suppose it is, but it was a little late for that, wasn't it?
What does that mean?
Well, he was 16 when we met him, Miss Roxby.
What's that got to do with it?
Somebody should have tried a long time ago. Most car thefts fall into 3 basic categories, well known by all police officers. First, the cars that are stolen by professionals who change the motor numbers, forge owner certificates, repaint the bodies, and sell them throughout the country. The second group consists of joyriders, thieves who steal the cars for a few hours, merely to ride around in them and then leave them on the streets. The third category, and the one we've been working on for the past 6 weeks, dealt with the activities of car strippers. Their M.O. followed the usual pattern for this type of crime. The car would be stolen and then driven to some lonely part of the city. There, all usable accessories would be removed. Radios, tires, air horns, side mirrors, anything that could be resold would be taken. In certain cases, the articles would be stolen while the car remained parked where the owner had left it. We found that the gang had become so proficient that they could break into a car and remove the radio as well as other accessories in under 10 minutes. Avenues of sale for the stolen merchandise had been checked. Known dealers in stolen property had been questioned. As the days went on, the total of thefts went up. By the 5th of August, the gang had stolen over $12,000 in automobile accessories. In the instances where we'd been able to get a description of men loitering in the vicinity of the stripped cars, we'd had the witnesses check mug books in the hope of identifying the thieves. We'd gotten no new leads. Physical evidence at the scene of the abandoned cars had been checked and rechecked. It netted us nothing. A week passed. August 14th, 8:15 a.m. Frank and I got back to the office.
The captain's really boiling, isn't he?
Yeah, you can't blame them, though. They got it stopped cold.
Well, we've got to get a break in it sometime. All the luck can't stay on their side.
I don't know. It looks like it could happen that way.
Anything on the steakhouse last night?
No, nothing that we got so far. Maybe something later. I get it. Auto theft Friday. I beg your pardon, ma'am? Well, no. Well, yeah. What was that again? Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, yes, ma'am. All right, what was that address again? Yes, I yeah, all right, well, we'll send a unit out. I'm sure they can help you. No, I suggest you get in touch with the SPCA. No, SPCA, yes, that's... All right, bye. Well, there's a dandy one.
What's that?
Woman lost a cat from her car. Want to know if we can get it back for her.
Yeah?
Says it's real easy to recognize. He has a collar on and he answers the name of Tabby.
Oh, that makes it easier.
Yeah.
Auto theft, Smith. Yes, sir. That's right. Uh-huh. Well, where are you calling from, sir? Yes, sir, that's on Wilshire, right? All right, sir, we'll be right there.
Anything?
Yeah, a doctor out on Wilshire parked his car out in front of his office.
Yeah.
Came back in 10 minutes. His car radio was gone.
8:56 a.m. Frank and I got to the doctor's office. It was in a large medical building out on Wilshire Boulevard. We went up to the second floor and talked to the man who placed the call, a Dr. Alex Halsey. He told us that he'd stopped at his office on the way to a hospital call. He parked his car immediately in front of the building. When he returned 10 minutes later, he found that the radio had been stolen. From his office, we called the crime lab and latent fingerprints detail. Crews of men were sent from both divisions. They went over the car for possible physical evidence. Frank and I, along with Dr. Halsey, went down to the street. We talked to him while the officers worked.
Darndest thing I ever saw. I tell you, I wasn't in the building more than 10 minutes. 10 minutes outside.
Yes, sir.
Came back, and I could see right away that the door had been opened.
Uh-huh.
First, I thought maybe I'd left it open. Then when I got in the car, I knew right away. As soon as I saw the radio was gone.
Yes, sir. Did you notice anyone loitering around your car when you parked it? Anybody suspicious, maybe?
No, I didn't. Of course, I might not have noticed anyone. Had my mind on Julie.
Julie?
Yes, I'm operating on her this afternoon. Poor little kid has an intestinal disorder. Only 3 months old.
Gee, that's too bad.
Yes, she'll be fine, though. Of course, the parents are worried. They always are. Can't convince them there's nothing to worry about.
Yes, sir. Then you didn't notice anyone, huh?
No, like I said, I didn't.
You sure you locked your car, sir, when you left it?
Oh, yes, I'm sure about that. Always make it a practice to lock it when I leave it. Lots of times I leave instruments in it. Always have to be careful about the instruments. Oh, yes, sir, I always lock it.
How about the windows?
What?
The windows. Did you roll them all the way up?
Roll them up. Well, now, once in a while I don't. Try to think of that. I'm not sure about this morning. No, come to think of it, I guess I didn't close them this morning. Such a wonderful day.
Yes, sir. Well, that's probably how they got into your car.
You happen to have the serial number of the radio, Dr. Halsey?
No, I don't think I have. Might be on the papers. I just got the car a couple of months ago. Might be on the papers. I can check them for you.
All right, sir. That'll help.
I'll have my secretary look them up for you right away.
Anyone else drive the car, Dr. Halsey?
Oh, no, sir. Don't believe in that. I'm the only one. Been the only one to drive it. Don't believe in lending the car to somebody else. Never have believed in it.
Mm-hmm.
Joe?
Excuse me a minute, Dr. Halsey.
Surely.
Yeah, Leonard.
Got a couple of clean prints on the dashboard. Might belong to the thief.
Yeah.
I'd like to check the doctor. It might be his.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I'll get the kit.
I know. Hey, Dr. Halsey.
Yes, Sergeant.
Okay.
This is Sergeant Tankersley of the fingerprint department. He'd like to check your prints.
How do you do, sir?
All right, Doctor. Wonder if I could look at your fingers, please.
Surely. Can you tell just from looking at them what you want to know?
No, sir, but you see, the prints we found are whorl. If your prints were loops, there'd be no reason to take them.
Oh, yes. I see.
How about it, Len?
Better roll them up for comparison.
We're going to take your prints, Doctor, if you have no objection.
Oh, no, of course not. Glad to help.
All right, sir. You want to step over here? We can take them in the officer's car.
Yes, glad to.
Here, I'll get the door.
Yeah, I'll get the pad. Now, Doctor, if you let me have your hand.
Surely, here.
No, sir, if you let me do it, it'd be a little easier.
Oh, yes. Just trying to help.
I will put them on the card.
Never knew my fingers were so big.
It does that we're taking the print of the whole tip of the finger, sir. Makes it look that way.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh.
All right, Doctor, you can get the ink off with this, I think. Here, I'll pour a little on this cloth. Here you go.
Yes, thank you.
What do you think, Leonard?
I'll check them now.
Sure be a break if they were the thieves.
Well, there must be. Couldn't be anyone else's.
Well, how about your family, Doctor? Possible the prints could be theirs, maybe?
Oh, no chance. Jenny, that's my wife. She has her own car. Kids always use that one. Like I said, I'm the only one who uses this.
Uh-huh. How about it, Len?
Make them? Yeah. They belong to the doctor.
10:02 a.m. The crime lab crew gathered what physical evidence they could find and returned to check over their findings. Frank and I took a report from Dr. Halsey, and then we talked to his secretary. She was unable to find the ownership papers on the car. We drove over to the dealer who had sold him the car and got the serial number of the stolen radio. We notified pawn shop detail and gave them the information. For the next 3 weeks, stakeouts on the parking lots in the central area continued. Arrests were made, but the thieves apparently had no connection with the gang we were after. They kept hitting, but the speed with which they operated made apprehending them difficult. On Friday, September 5th, we got a call that a stolen car had been recovered out in Topanga Canyon. We drove out to check on it. The tires, radio, horns, heater, spotlights, fog lights, and the side view mirrors had been taken. The seat covers had been removed, and the hubcaps were missing. Again, there was no physical evidence that gave us a lead to the thieves. That night at 10:52 p.m., Frank and I checked back into the office.
Another long day.
Yeah, kind of tired myself.
Kind of hate to call Faye.
Why's that?
Oh, this morning when I left, I told her I'd be home for dinner, sure.
Well, didn't you call her?
No, I forgot all about it. She's really going to be sore.
Yeah, well, she'll get over it.
I don't know, Joe. It's going to be a couple of days of quiet around the house, I think.
Why, just because you missed a meal?
No, it ain't that. She had tamale pie for dinner. Boy, she sure makes it good, too. A lot of cheese, you know?
Yeah, well, she can warm it up for you when you get home. Here, go ahead.
All right.
You want to sign us out? I'll check the book.
Yeah, I'll get it. Anything?
Yeah, a call from Brennan out in Wilshire. I'll call him. Hello, Brennan around? Yeah, all right.
Say what it was about?
No, I'm calling him now. Yeah, hi, Brennan. It's Friday. Yeah. You did, huh? So where'd that happen? No kidding. Well, it was the brakes, I think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Brennan. Picked up a kid for running a red light driving a hot rod.
Yeah?
Car was fixed up with a lot of new stuff. Guys out of Wilshire checked it over.
Uh-huh.
According to the serial number on the radio, it was stolen from Dr. Halsey.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
In 1952, American smokers bought more Chesterfields than ever before in the history of the industry. Today, sales are still going up. Smokers everywhere are changing to Chesterfield.
Chesterfield, the first and only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size. Premium quality in a cigarette means the world's best tobaccos, the best ingredients, the best cigarette paper. Only Chesterfield gives you this premium quality in both popular sizes.
King-size Chesterfield contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king-size cigarette. Well, that's certainly important to every king-size smoker. Of course, it's the same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. There is absolutely no difference, except that king-size Chesterfield gives you more than a fifth longer smoke.
Remember, the modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. Premium quality, both regular and king size.
Chesterfield is much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
11:27 p.m. Frank and I drove out to Wilshire Division. We checked with Sergeant Brennan, and he told us how the boy had been picked up. He'd run a red light at the corner of Pico and La Brea. He'd been stopped by two officers in a cruiser car. He was driving a cut-down 49 Ford that was equipped with Cadillac hubcaps, white sidewall tires, Chrysler horns, and a Cadillac radio. The officers had started to question him, and he'd attempted to escape. He'd been apprehended and brought to the station to be interrogated. In checking the serial number of the radio, the men from Wilshire Division had discovered that it was stolen and had left word for us. 11:45 p.m. We went to an interview room to talk to the boy.
What's your name, son?
Martin.
First name?
Herb Martin.
You know why you're here, don't you?
Yeah.
You want to tell us where you got that stuff?
I bought it.
Where?
Different places.
You remember where?
Not right off.
How old are you?
19.
Where do you live?
It's on the report.
We're asking you.
Come on, Herb.
8297 Marianne Drive.
Where were you going when they stopped you?
Home.
Where'd you been?
Around.
Same place you bought that stuff on your car, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, look, you better come off this, young fella. You might think you're a big man, but you got things a little mixed up here. You got caught with a carload of stolen accessories. There's been a lot of stealing going on around town. The way your car looks, you could be responsible for it.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
You look good for it.
Look, maybe I lifted the radio and stuff, but that don't mean I'm in on the other. Sure, I got no choice. You got me nailed for the stuff you found, but I'm not going to take it for the others. Maybe I stole that stuff, but that was for me. I didn't sell it like the others. Now leave me alone, huh?
What do you mean, others?
I don't know what you mean.
You said the others.
Well, I didn't mean others like that.
Well, how did you mean it?
Well, like the guys you're looking for.
That's not the way it sounded.
No, you said it like you knew who you were talking about.
I didn't say it like that.
That's the way it sounded.
That's right, son.
Now, why don't you tell us who you meant?
Look, Herb, we haven't got all day.
Come on, boy.
We're going to get them sometime.
Who'd you mean?
All right, I'll tell you.
We continued to talk to Herb Martin. He told us of the activities of a gang of car strippers who were working on order. He went on to say that from what he'd heard, if someone wanted to pick up some fast money, a connection could be made with a man on the corner of Sunset and Western. The man would give the order for the stolen merchandise and say where and at what time it was to be delivered. Herb told us that he had the opportunity to do business with the man, but that he turned it down. He was unable to identify the man who made the contact and said that he'd never heard him referred to by name. He gave us the names and addresses of 2 of the men who were working for him. 12:45 a.m. Frank and I left and drove back downtown. With the assistance of officers from Wilshire Division, the 2 young men were brought in for questioning. They identified their contact as a Richard R. Ogden. We ran the name through R&I and found that Ogden had a previous record of petty theft. From the 510 in his package, we obtained his last known address, but the landlady told us that he'd moved and left no forwarding address. She told us, however, that she thought we could find him at the Meyer Garage on South Hoover. We drove over and found that it was a small place on the corner of Hoover and Mariposa. The owner, Alan Meyer, told us that Ogden did work for him, but that he was out. He said that the suspect was expected back almost any time. While we talked to him, Meyer worked on a small foreign car.
Great little cars. Get a real kick out of working on them.
Yeah, sure nice looking. You sell them, do you?
No, I just service them. Mm-hmm. Oh, now and then I get accessories for them. You know, I order them up, install them. Cost too much to keep a regular stock of them.
Yeah. When did you say that Ogden would be back?
We should be here now. Probably got hung up someplace. Yeah, latest thing is a hardtop. Made out of laminated fiberglass.
Is that right?
Yeah, fits right over them. Kind of makes them look like a small rolls, you know. Then with wire wheel caps, baggage racks, wind wings, you can put a lot of money in them.
Yeah, I guess so. What about all this other stuff here? Is that for these foreign cars, too?
What do you mean?
Oh, tires and hubcaps here?
No, that's where I make most of my money. I go out and buy them from Rex, bring them back here, straighten them out, resell them to the independent stations around town. They can sell them a lot cheaper than new ones run. We both make a little money out of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Say, you guys like some peanuts?
No,
thanks.
Okay, you don't mind if I have some, huh? Sure you don't want any?
No, thanks very much.
I get so hungry in the morning, I keep these things around and munch on.
Yeah.
Go through a whole can of these a day. That'd kill me. I can get started on things you can't stop. You sure you don't want some? Huh?
No, thanks. How long have you known this Ogden, Meyer?
Oh, I see. Guess it's been 10 years anyway. Went to work for me a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Good man, brought a lot of business in. Say, what does you want to see him about?
Oh, we'd like to talk to him.
You don't want to tell me, huh?
Be better if we talk to him, Mr. Meyer.
Yeah. Well, here he is now. Hey, Dick.
Yeah?
A couple of fellas here want to see you.
Yeah, what is it?
You Richard Ogden?
Yeah, that's right.
Police officers. I'm Frank Smith. This is my partner, Joe Friday.
What did you guys want me for?
I'd like to talk to you, Ogden.
Well, go ahead.
Might be better if we went outside.
Well, look, you can talk to him here. I got some work I can do in the office.
Don't want to bother you, Mr. Meyer.
No trouble at all.
Well, now, what's this all about?
You know a couple of kids named Jerry Z. Swanson and Harry T. Benson?
Swanson and Benson? No, I don't think I do.
They say they know you. Say they do some work for you.
Sorry to bother you. Forgot my peanuts.
It's all right, sir.
I'll be in the office if you need anything.
Thank you, sir.
No, anything at all.
Yes, sir.
What about it, Ogden?
What about what?
You know the kids? It's Benson and Swanson.
No, I told you once.
All right, mister, let's go downtown. We'll talk it over there, huh?
What for? Why are you pulling me in?
I want you to meet the 2 boys if you don't know them.
Well, what's that going to prove?
We want to know why they named you. Why they said you were responsible for the car stripping that's been going on.
You mean you believe them?
We've got no reason not to. I don't think they'd stage a thing like this. They got a lot to lose.
So have I. You get me down there and those 2 kids point me out and I haven't got a chance. Even if I'm not the one and they say I am, you won't give me a break.
No, if you haven't done anything, you got nothing to worry about.
I'm not going. Alan? Hey, Alan.
Yeah, what is it, Dick?
Come here, will you?
Yeah, right away. What's the matter? Something wrong?
Well, these guys are going to take me to jail.
Well, what for? What's he done?
We want to talk to him, Meyer. We think he's involved in some car thefts.
Well, I know that's not true. Dick wouldn't do a thing like that. I know. I've known him a long time.
No, I'm sorry, sir, but the information we've got says you did.
Why, Dick? Why'd you do a thing like that? If what these officers say is true, gee, that's awful. Why would you do a thing like that?
What are you talking about?
All right, come on, Ogden, let's go.
No, I'm not going.
I think you better do what the officers say, Dick. It'll be better if you don't cause any trouble.
Well, wait a minute. What are you trying to prove with this?
I don't know what you mean. Next thing you'll be trying to involve me in this.
Yeah, well, that's just what I'm going to do.
You see, officers, that's terrible.
Well, don't you listen to him. He's the guy behind the whole thing. Look over there, the tires, all this stuff. Sure, I stole them. I had the kids go out and pick them up, but he set it up. He sold them to the stations. He took most of the money. The whole thing was his idea.
Well, Dick, how can you say that?
Well, I can say it because it's true. I'll tell you all about it. You take him downtown, I'll tell you all about it. You're not going to let me stand for this alone.
And to think that he'd do a thing like this to me after we've been friends for so long. Bring me stolen merchandise to sell.
You got anything to back up what you're saying, Ogden?
Sure I have. You just bet I can back it up.
Go ahead.
Well, you look at his books, not the ones he's got out in the open, but you look at the ones in the safe. It's all there. All the deals he's made with the owners of the stations, all the orders, what he paid the kids for them, and what he got for them. Didn't think I knew about it, did you? Whole lousy year I've been doing the dirty work for him. Well, I've had it. I'm through. I've had it. Let me take the beef. What a crumb. I'll show him.
I don't understand it. Friends for so long. I'd have gotten you out. 10 years we've been friends. I trusted you all that time. Then you sold me out. Why?
Well, that shouldn't be too tough for you to figure.
Huh?
You showed him how.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 21st, trial was held in Department 87, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Remember, only Chesterfield gives you this scientific evidence on the effects of smoking. After 10 full months, the group examined showed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield. Now, speaking personally as a Chesterfield smoker, I know they're best for me. Either way you like them, you'll find Chesterfield is best for you.
Richard R. Ogden and Alan Y. Meyer were tried and convicted of receiving stolen property. They received sentences as prescribed by law. Receiving stolen property is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not more than 10 years, or in the county jail for not more than 1 year. The investigation of the records of Alan Y. Meyer uncovered the names of the other men involved in the thefts. They, along with Herbert S. Martin, Jerry Z. Swanson, and Harold T. Benson, were tried on a charge of grand theft auto and convicted. They were sentenced to the state penitentiary at San Quentin, California, for the term as prescribed by law. Grand theft auto is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 1 nor more than 10 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, 10 million Americans have diseases of the heart and blood vessels. What are the causes and the cures? Well, it'll take research to find out. Send what you can to Heart, care of your local post office. Help your heart fund. Help your heart.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Sarah Selby, Art Gilmore. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show Tuesday night on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield, either regular or king size. You'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, it's Adventure with Barry Craig, confidential investigator on NBC.
Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, the Lion's Eye, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the guy from Gower Gulch.
It's a gray building, about the color of moldy bread. It's an apartment house in the middle of Hollywood, and it figures that the guy who built it quit voting when they named the street it sits on, Taft Avenue. My place is furnished with war surplus from the Spanish-American War. Well, it's got a hat rack, and that's where I live, number 308.
In back, where you get a view and some fresh air from the alley. One's about as bad as the other. But I got it fixed up kind of nice. Hot plate, coffee pot, an autographed picture of Sally Rand that somebody left there. The only mistake I made was putting in a telephone. It spoils a lot of things.
Regan, Mr. Lyon, wake up. We got a job.
Why don't you sleep at night?
Lucky for you, I got insomnia. We go broke.
Try Ovaltine. What kind of a job?
How should I know? Get your clothes on.
What are you doing, reading the want ads?
I got a note from a client.
You mean you got money?
$100 is all. Says he'll match it if we run him an errand.
Where to? Santa Ana Canyon?
He'll tell you.
You know, if you got morals like a cash register, can he write his name?
Davy Crockett. He's 50 years old.
Well, he's a little old for cowboys and Indians, isn't he?
That's his name, Davy Crockett.
Well, when's the wagon train pull out?
Regan, I don't know how I stand for you. Get over there.
Get where?
Listen, a guy works pretty hard. Building up a business like I have takes a lot out of him.
You got plenty on tap.
I just want you to understand, that's all. Money doesn't grow on trees. Now, sometimes you got to play your hunches.
Like George Gallup.
This time I got a feeling the guy's okay. He writes like a gentleman, Regan. I want you to treat him like one.
Well, where do I find him?
He's in a location can give us a lot of business.
Where?
The city jail.
Yeah, that's the Lion. Born under the sign of the dollar. Well, it happened on Monday night, and I found the Lincoln Heights jail looking real tired after a rough weekend. They were putting fresh creosote on the walls in front of the drunk tank, and the guy at the desk looked like he'd burst his radiator if anybody phoned for another reservation. It was about 1 a.m., but after a couple of jokes I know about alligators, Sergeant Gonzalez hauled out a drawer with some cards in it. Under C, he found it. Full name, David Crockett, cell 273, solitary. Gonzalez walked me through a couple of corridors, and then he opened his cell and let me inside. Davy Crockett was there, awake and standing up. He was about 4 feet high, skinny, with a head like a sunburned turnip. He had blue veins roaming all over his nose and a handlebar mustache to hold him up. He looked at me like I was holding the fifth ace.
Howdy, stranger.
My name's Regan, International Detective Bureau.
How do I know? Start anything and I'll set up a racket.
Now, I work for the Lion. You called him.
Maybe yes, maybe no. You got credentials?
Where do you want him?
Easy, son. Not talking to an amateur. Flyweight champion, Buenos Aires, 29. Grab yourself a squat, partner.
All right. What are you so nervous about?
Nothing. Precautious, that's all.
All right, look, let's start at the beginning, shall we? What are you locked up for?
Fire plug. Got him in the dangest places in this burg.
What'd you do, steal it for your dog?
No. Parked my landlady's car alongside it while I ran an errand.
You don't get jugged for traffic tickets.
There were 2 cops. Looked like a posse. I don't like injustice.
All right, resisting arrest, is that all?
What more do you want? Told you I'm not a man to be trampled with. Taught judo in Tokyo, 34.
The Japs still lost the war.
Sit still, Regan. You're working.
On what?
Well, it's just another errand. It's not much.
Well, come on, let's pick up the tempo, will you? My bicycle's double parked.
Say, you ever get saddle sores on a bicycle? I did once. 8-day race.
Yeah, I know. Now, what about this errand?
Little package wrapped up in a sweater. In the alley by the ash can.
Go on.
I calculate I dropped it about 3.5 feet to the left of the big ash can.
By accident?
Man can't fight with his hands full. I wrote down the address for you here.
All right. What's in that sweater you didn't want the cops to see?
A polecat.
That fits the rest of your story, yeah.
Son, there's nothing in the life of Davy Crockett won't stand inspection. When you get the package, check it in at the Union Station.
And then what?
Save me the stub. You get 100.
Save it for bail. You could do this job yourself.
That's what I told you, Sonny. I'd like to be lonesome.
So you had him lock you up on purpose?
No, I just like it here. You want a reference? Check any of the boys in Gower Gulch.
Movie cowboy, huh?
Laddie, you're looking at the greatest jockey since Paul Revere. Eddie Sand to Eddie Arcaro. I beat them all. Kentucky Downs, 39.
Yeah, sure. Well, a job's a job, Davy, but I got a hot tip where I fit in.
Where's that?
Trailing the field. Well, I left the little man running his fingers through an old copy of Variety, and I went out into the street. It was about 3 o'clock, and a truck was throwing some water out and giving the gutter a shampoo. I picked up my car and started out to play retriever. That's when I spotted the blonde tailing me. She was using a 37 Packard, and the top was down. I could see her in the mirror. I could tell she had yellow hair like a rag doll. It took a few fast turns to get rid of her, but then I was solo when I pulled to a stop by the alley off Gower. It was in back of some old movie studios. About then, a drunk came pouring down the street, did a loop around a fire plug at the head of the alley, and sat down. He was the talented kind, and I figured he thought I was Arthur Godfrey. Well, I scrambled over some broken beer bottles looking for the sweater. It finally showed, lying beside a pack of newspaper and some dame's torn petticoat. That's when the drunk lost his tilt and began looking at me. I picked up an old shoe, I wrapped it in a newspaper, and I started out of the alley. The drunk went back to his audition, moving toward me.
Marie, the dawn is breaking, Marie, you'll soon be waking. Hiya, friend, have a drink.
That's not my brand.
Don't be a mug. A little drink between friends is real nice.
Well, we haven't been introduced.
My name's Maxwell. What's yours?
Slipped my mind.
That's the trouble with the whole world. No fellowship. Except for my girl, Marie. You know Marie?
No, I don't.
Sort of short and plump with a little sinus trouble.
It's too bad.
Thought you might have met her. Lots of fellowship in that girl. Every time you look, another fella.
All right, move it, buddy.
Now, you don't want to get by me, friends. You want to stand right there and have a little drink.
You got the subject we're going to talk about?
Yeah, sure. Here, what's in the package?
Dirty laundry.
Ain't that funny, though? I just got me a new Bendix.
Why don't you go into business?
That's what I'm going to do. You're my first customer.
No, I lux my dainties.
Yeah, don't go away, friend. I ain't through with my sales talk.
Well, hire a skywriter.
Hold up, I said.
Get your hands off of me.
All right, Regan, the round's over.
Yeah, what makes you the referee?
This does.
Friend here wants to play rough, Red.
Reconsider, Regan. It'll make you happy.
All right, what do you want?
The package.
You heard what he said, smart guy.
Why don't you work for it?
Grab him, Max. Don't leave, Regan. We're not finished.
I got the package, Red.
Give him a tip for picking it up.
Sure.
Oh.
Guess I overpaid him.
Well, it was easy to see it was their play. I had about as much chance as a midget in a basketball game. The muscles ambled off with the package that they took from me, and I crawled back for that sweater. It was still there, wrapped around something hard and round. And when I ripped it off, a shine caught my eye. It was a metal can of movie film, and the word Peru was marked on it. Not much for all the hush-hush, but it must have had a story. Well, I looked up a friend of mine who owned a camera shop, and I made a commotion with a $5 bill. That shook the sand out of him, and he rented me a projector with sound. The Lyons house was the next stop. We threw up a sheet on the wall and turned on the film. That completed the night. We had a trip to a good neighbor without a passport. Turned out to be a Joan Fitzpatrick giving us some kind of a travelogue.
The most colorful in the world. A temple of worship. Home of Peru, 2,000 years old.
Well, stop screaming, will you? It's free.
You know I can't stand movies. I got sore eyes.
All right, shut up and listen to this.
Peru, the marketplace. A street vendor dressed in gay native costumes, selling delicacies to Peruvian children. Beads and jewels of exquisite beauty wrought by the hands of master Peruvian artisans. Horse racing and innovations from the modern world. And native dance.
I'm going to bed.
You won't sleep. I stole your eyeshade.
Oh, Regan, I got to get up early. I got lots to do.
It'll keep.
A veritable symphony of motion. And so, it's with heavy heart we say adieu to lovely Peru, land of the Peruvians, land of charm and enchantment. And with the setting sun, we take our leave.
Well, what'd you get out of it?
A headache.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the morning.
No, I can't wait.
What you doing now?
I'm phoning the city jail.
Looking for a room?
Looking for information. Davey will supply it.
You've been drinking.
Now listen, big shot. Somebody's after this film for some reason. I'm going to find it.
City jail, Sergeant Gonzalez speaking.
Danny's Regan.
Oh, hiya, Regan. I'm glad you called. I just got that joke about the alligators.
Now, well, do me a favor, will you?
Sure, pal, sure. See, I told it to the lieutenant. He's still laughing. You know, it may earn me a promotion, pal.
Let me talk to Davy Crockett.
Oh, I can't do that, Regan.
Well, you can say I'm his lawyer.
Well, it's not that, pal. He's not here anymore.
What do you mean?
Some guy bailed him out 20 minutes ago. When I was telling the lieutenant the joke, this guy in the briefcase comes in, slaps down the bail. Out walks your friend.
Well, he said he liked it there.
And Davey must have changed his mind.
Where'd he go?
Not very far. Just over to the morgue.
Well, the cowboy from Gower Gulch had spun his last yarn. Gonzalez told me that somebody had shot Crockett as soon as he hit the street. Oh, none of this made sense. The phony job, the blonde who tails me, the fight in the alley, the corny movie. Well, the lion shoved the film in a desk, and I went out the door. I cut across his yard, but I stopped on the opposite sidewalk. My car wasn't alone. There was a 40-foot nag sniffing at its rear fender.
Hey, Regan.
Well, Maxwell.
That's me.
You look different. Did you take the cure?
Shut up. Somebody wants to see you.
If it's Marie, tell her my book's full.
Thought you might like a lift.
No, I got a friend who runs a streetcar, and I go on, beat it.
Regan, don't be that way.
Offer him a panatella, Maxwell.
Who's this, your father-in-law?
You smoke, Regan?
No, it might explode.
Yes.
So long.
Hold it. Get in. Oh, Max. Max, I told you before, you're on probation.
That's all right. Don't pick on him, teacher. He didn't hurt me.
Get in front, Max.
Sure.
Where's your other boy, Red? We could play some bridge.
I thought he'd do better in the shoe business.
The one I gave him didn't fit, huh?
I'm a much misunderstood man, Mr. Regan. I'm sure you'll put your best foot forward.
I'd love to.
My card, Horace Grundy. Sometime earlier, a little man called me, Mr. Regan. Custer or Boone or...
Davy Crockett?
Of course. I want you to understand I get many such calls.
Party line.
It's a private number, but the salesmen bother me anyway.
Well, it's tough to be popular. Davy tell you what he was selling?
No.
Well, he didn't tell me either.
Have it your own way. When I told him I'd meet him, he said he'd arranged to get out of jail. He said all he wanted was a job.
And he got one.
Yes, only there's no future to it. I wouldn't want anything like that happening to you, Mr. Regan.
I'll renew my insurance.
Oh, no, you'll come with me. It's more friendly.
Suppose I don't like to talk.
You won't have to, if everything goes all right.
Well, it's your taxi.
And you're paying the fare. All right, Maxwell. Cloverfield.
I never knew a guy could say the name of an airport and make it sound like Forest Lawn. Grundy sat in the corner checking the manicure on his fingernails, and Maxwell drove out of Olympic. By the time we skidded into Clover, I'd figured absolutely nothing. It was still only 4 a.m., but there was a string of cars parked in the lot. I spotted a 37 Packard Roadster, but I was too busy getting rushed up onto the field to look for the blonde. Besides, the faster we ran, the more excited Grundy got. And then we rounded a hangar, and the reporters hit us.
Say, Louis B's pretty sore, huh?
No. Louis B and I are friends. Just his plugs are burned. Put it through, boys.
Hey, wait a second. This Julio who's traveling on the plane. They say he wants $250,000. You going to pay him today?
After I see a workout. Come on, Regan, let's go.
Yeah, you're a real big man, Grundy.
I'm going to be, Regan. El Romano. Best rep of any horse in South America.
So that's it, huh? Where the ruins come from.
What's that?
Peru?
Oh, sure. Peruvian National Airways gave Julio a special plane. Everything special.
Like in the movies. Well, look, suppose you watch him unload. I'll take a back seat here.
Oh, no, Regan. This is a big day. I want you to see what's the ambulance for.
Well, don't look at me.
Stick around, Regan. It could be you.
Hey, get that stretcher over there.
Oh, he kicked me, hit me, kicked me. It's Julio.
That's the guy who owns him?
Must be. I tried to hold him. The halter break home, my rib.
Take it easy, boy. We got you.
What happened?
Bounce. The landing she is rough, that is all.
Where is the doctor?
We're going to the hospital. Lie down.
I'm broken in 6 places.
Lift up the stretcher. Come on, boys. Hurry it up.
Oh, he kicked me. Move fast, boys. Yes, hot.
Hey, Mr. Grundy, my horse.
Well, the guy on the plane started to yell just about the time they took Julio toward the rear of the ambulance. Grundy took a dive for the cargo door, and so did everybody else. Then I had to stand there while 6 feet of big shot cigar turned into a crybaby.
Look, Regan. Look at the horse's leg. He's kicked himself.
Okay, so he's clumsy.
But he might not run again. He was going to be mine, Regan.
Well, that's too bad. Call a vet.
I have already paid $50,000 retainer on the horse, Regan.
I'll send you a lawyer.
I got an idea you're connected with this.
Oh, dry up, Buster. It's an accident.
Yeah? I got an idea there's going to be another accident.
Grundy, maybe you're right.
Go! Hey, stop him!
I didn't wait to see if he went down. Maxwell swung, but I took off through the crowd. It figured that Cloverfield wasn't for me, and I wasn't going to stick around for the daisies. And then I spotted a ride, the rear end of Julio's ambulance. I made it just as the buggy started to move. I pulled the door shut and Tried not to step on that stretcher inside. I shouldn't even have bothered that. The stretcher was empty. The only patient was me.
You are listening to the story of the guy from Gower Gulch. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve. Graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45 may qualify for service with this fine organization. If you are interested in joining the Army Nurse Corps and believe that you qualify for a commission, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to Jeff Regan, Investigator, and the story of the guy from Gower Gulch.
Well, things were beginning to move like a hula dancer with a hot foot. Davy Crockett sent me out to pick up a roll of movie film. A Joan Fitzpatrick travelogue on beautiful Peru. There was something in it that was hot, but Crockett got himself plugged before he could say what it was. There were shots of a horse race in Peru. And when a big buster named Grundy turns up buying a nag from a Peruvian breeder, I figured a connection. So did I. When the horse got hurt and Julio did a disappearing act with his money, everybody looked at me. That's when I took the shortest way to Hollywood in an ambulance, got my car, and made it for home. Only parked up the street from my apartment was that same 37 Packard Roadster I'd been dodging all evening. The blonde wasn't in it. She was sitting in my place looking real hopeful.
Good evening. You keep late hours, Mr. Regan.
No, it's the kind of friends I've got.
Perhaps you ought to change them.
I'll stick it out. What do you want?
A little chance to talk to you.
It'll keep till morning.
Oh, but Mr. Regan, I've been waiting so long, you've got to talk to me now.
Why?
I'm Davy Crockett's wife. You've got something that belongs to me.
I don't see any wedding ring.
I don't wear one.
Scare off the other boys?
That's not a very nice remark, Mr. Regan.
No, but you'll let it go.
Only because it's not important.
Oh, stop it. You're not Davy's wife. If the little guy had anybody he could trust, he wouldn't have had to call him a lion.
All right, Mr. Regan. I lied.
Now, let's have it, lady. What are you after?
A roll of film.
That figures.
It's mine.
Convince me.
Mr. Regan, you're becoming very annoying.
Well, why don't you call the police?
But I tell you, it is mine.
Let's see the pink slip.
And so it is with heavy heart we bid adieu
That's
to...
enough. Yeah. I thought I knew that voice.
Davy stole the roll from my library. Now may I have it back?
Homicide will turn it over to you when they're ready.
I can't wait.
Well, what makes it so valuable?
I'm not sure.
Then how do you know it is?
Because I'm not stupid, Mr. Regan. Somebody goes to a lot of trouble to break into my film library. But he only steals one roll of film.
Go on.
I put the police on Davy, follow them to the jail. So you go after the film. That adds up to pretty important business.
Did you push those holes in Davy?
Of course not.
Yeah, you're going to get a chance to prove that when Homicide starts speaking in your cupboard.
About the film, I'll buy it from you.
No sale. There's the door, lady. Use it. I threw the light switch and grabbed for the floor. When the noise stopped, I looked up. My landlady was going to be mad. The shots plowed a few holes into her flower pot. The blonde turned a couple of different colors and decided she could find safer company. She left with a fire escape without even goodbye. Well, I headed for the Lions. The idea being to make sure that he'd turn that film over to the police and advertise that I didn't have it anymore. That figured to cool me off and I could catch some sleep again. When I got there, the Lion looked kind of excited. He was wrapped up in a silk robe with red and gray stripes, and he carried a drink to match. He was holding a piece of that movie film up to the light.
Hey, Regan, I've been calling all over for you. Where you been?
I'm looking for a bed.
I don't pay you to sleep. You're on a job. Now, I've been thinking since you left. We're handling this wrong.
Yeah, now that's what I figure. Get on the phone.
What for?
To tell Homicide you got a package for him. You're turning over that film right now.
Easy.
You heard me, big shot. I'm tired of playing the fall guy.
Now, Regan, you don't know what you're saying. I've been running over the section on that Peruvian horse race. And you know what?
You picked the winner.
And we're going to collect.
Who's making books?
The insurance company.
Now, come on, clear it up.
Look at this clip.
Yeah.
Well, what do you see? What do you see?
Looks like a horse.
But look at him. He's way out in front. El Romano.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, here's the way I add it up. This film tells a story, or everybody wouldn't be grubbing around for it.
Well, now, that takes a big brain.
So somebody's engineering a phony.
Who?
That's what you're going to find out. But I'll tell you one thing. That nag's insured by Banner Trust, and they pay off big if we can turn up the swindle.
Right. Give me that picture.
Where you going?
Over to Grundy's to check the horse.
Now you're talking, Regan. You dig that out and we'll be eating squab.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you'll be collecting your unemployment insurance.
Yeah, well, payoff's about the same. I didn't like it any better than a fan dancer likes a wind tunnel. I'd already seen enough of Grundy and his boys for one night, but when the lion gets an idea, he's like a hangman with a new rope. So I went out to test it. I found Horace Grundy's place. It was a bright new house in the San Fernando Valley. There was some fancy fence in back, and a stable looked like the paint was still wet where it said El Romano. A trailer was parked on the road with a truck from the veterinarians. When Grundy opened the front door, it looked like he'd been sitting a 3-day wake, but without any beer.
Hello, Regan.
Well, what's the verdict?
It's bad, Regan. Bad. Tendons torn. Never run. Never.
Yeah, you said that.
I can't believe it.
Uh-huh. I knew somebody else liked animals. A guy from Gower Gulch.
Decided to talk?
Maybe. If you keep your hands in the audience.
What else did Crockett say?
Now you got him on the wheel.
All right, you drive.
That's better. You know the horse is insured?
Not by me, it isn't.
You don't own it. You just paid a deposit.
Sure, 50 G's.
You got it back yet?
There's plenty of time. Julio's in the hospital.
Oh? Well, now, if it wasn't for the accident, you would have coughed up another $200,000.
Yes. No. Oh, what difference does it make? The whole deal's a bust now.
Well, that horse is a phony.
Say some more, Regan.
I don't know much more. Davy Crockett was a movie fan.
You're doing fine. You had pictures?
I wouldn't advertise them, but there's a shot of a horse winning a race. Take a look here.
Give me that.
All right, it's economy size. You're going to ruin your eyesight.
I got a magnifying glass for my income tax.
Well, let's get a light behind it. Now, let's see.
Horse.
You get a star.
4 white feet.
I can do that well myself.
Listen, Regan. Horse in the stable's got 3.
That does it. My boss gets promoted.
Come on outside. I'll show you.
No, I'll take your word for it. Let go of me. I got my information.
Maxwell, where are you?
I told you, don't whistle the bulldogs.
You're in it now, Regan. You're on my side.
I drop your blood pressure. There's a handkerchief on the plate.
Hey, wait. Hello. I look for somebody. Good morning.
Pan America.
See, I'm Julio. Is Mr. Grundy?
It's the guy with his mouth open there.
How do you do? I'm so glad to meet and
talk. Shogat.
Okay?
You switch horses.
No, you'll not understand. El Romano, he kicked me.
Wait for the encore.
Mr. Grundy, with belief, I'm telling you.
Now, look, you better make it fast, Julio. This guy goes
Shut
off.
up, Regan. A man trades a stretcher for a slab. Let him talk.
The hospital. I did not go. Julio is honest. A debt comes first.
The interest's going up.
When El Romano hurts himself, I know the deal is off. I know I must see the consul, so we cash the check.
What?
Here we are. 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50. Your down payment is up. Now we are one big happy United Nations, no?
Well, that's what happened. Now there were 2 guys with their mouths open. By the time we got them closed, the little gent from Peru had waddled off someplace, and Grundy folded his money and started to laugh. He was happy, and at least I had what I came for. Figured I could dump the whole plate of spaghetti on the lion. The lead horse in the travelogue was a different nag from the one in the stable. So I got in my car and headed for home. But I picked up a newspaper on the corner, and then the whole bucket turned upside down again. The green sheet was loaded with publicity shots of El Romano from South America, and he was exactly the same oat burner that came in on the plane, feet and all. No switch there. Well, there was something phony in this act. It was that winner in that Fitzpatrick film. Well, for a minute I felt like a test pilot in a yo-yo factory, and then the string broke. I took a fast run to the Lions and one more look at those movies. I had it. The case was beginning to wind. 10 minutes later, I was back on Gower Gulch.
Yes? Who is it?
Regan, you alone?
Don't be insulting.
I'll open the door. What's the matter? You're slow.
What do you want?
Ask me in.
No.
Ask me in.
Regan, look out!
Be careful, Regan. I have a gun.
Well, Julio.
Yes, Julio.
What are you doing here?
Well, I told you.
I know. Back at my place, you're aiming at her, not me. She's been to Peru. She has the films. You knew that.
You whistle like I know it.
I go to the movies like everybody else. I keep my eyes on the winner. After Hollywood Park, I should have known better.
Yeah, there are lots of races.
El Romano was a dud. He came in last. 60 lengths with Davy Crockett digging in the spurs. You gave the nag a build-up. Phony publicity to sucker an insurance company.
$250,000, I was over.
Can it? You could have never closed a sale without Grundy watching a workout. That would have been a slow boat to China.
You want to be a sailor, too?
Oh, stop being tough, will you? You wore yourself out when you kicked up El Romano in that plane.
It looked good.
Yeah, not to me or Joan.
Look out, Regan. You're asking for a daily double.
Well, I'm going to take it across the board. Give me that gun.
Leave me
Stop
alone.
it.
No, you're breaking my arm.
That's the idea.
I'll kick you in the stomach.
You better go back to his stretcher.
Well,
Yeah.
you can be useful.
Well, when I'm working.
What about after hours? I'm not bad, you know.
No, I never noticed.
Look again.
No, I'm all through with the ponies.
Want to bet?
Davy Crockett told me to play my hunches.
Here I am.
Yeah, but you're a loser.
What do you mean?
You threw those holes into Davy.
It was Julio.
Oh, you're trying real hard, but he was on the plane.
What do I do now?
Well, you might bid a fondue to Gower Gulch.
That's not funny, Regan.
I know it. But you ran out of film. Well, the whole thing blew up like a hoop skirt in a high wind. Julio had a real good thing until he ran into the little man with a good memory and a dame with a fast trigger finger. Her blackmail pitch was already set up, but Davy figured to queer it, so she had to knock him off. Well, the hospital boys came after Julio, and homicide dated Joan, the travel queen. The Lion was pretty excited about the way things worked out. He figured that the insurance company would come across with some green stuff for exposing a fraud. They did. That was the color of the season pass they gave him to the Burton Holmes travel lectures.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by Larry Roman and Jackson Gillis, produced by Sterling Tracy. Included in tonight's cast were Leo Clary, Clayton Post, Yvonne Patey, Ed Begley, and Herb Ellis. 29,000 nurses are needed to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. For the first time in history, qualified nurses have the opportunity of receiving commissions in the regular Army Reserve. These nurses will remain on inactive status, ready to serve their country in time of emergency. 4,000 of them, if they wish, may choose active duty. All nurses who receive commissions will benefit from the opportunity for specialized training offered to them by the Army. Inactive reserve status will not interfere with the nurse's civilian life, but the educational opportunities offered her by the Army Medical Department will be of a great advantage in her work. Don't wait. If you're a registered graduate nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, drop a card for complete information to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles, Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the first and only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to forgery detail. 2 men have been passing bad checks in your city. You have descriptions of both of them. You know the names on the checks. Your job, get them. First, we read you the 6 months report, then the 8 months report. Now, here is 10 full months of scientific evidence on smoking Chesterfields.
A medical specialist is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of this group have smoked Chesterfields for an average of over 10 years. After 10 full months, almost a year now, the specialist reports he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield.
That's the report. And Chesterfield is the first and only premium quality cigarette throughout, in both regular and king size. Fine tobaccos, the world's best, kept tasty and fresh, wrapped in the finest cigarette paper money can buy. Yes, everything that goes into your Chesterfield makes it the premium quality cigarette. And it's the only cigarette that gives you scientific evidence of real smoking pleasure. Try much milder Chesterfield today. They're best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, April 8th. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of forgery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Welsh. My name's Friday. We were on the way back from the main jail, and it was 9:46 a.m. when we got to room 29. Forgery.
Well, that wraps that one up.
Yeah. When are we going to arraign him?
Oh, figure day after tomorrow.
Okay. Well, let's get started on these other crime reports, huh?
Yeah.
Friday, Smith?
Yeah, Skipper.
See you a minute?
Sure.
Sit down.
What's up, Skipper?
How's the Clemens thing going?
Oh, we just talked to him. Says he'll plead guilty.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want you to take a look at this.
Okay. Oh, border checks, huh?
Yeah. I want you two to go to work on it.
Are we going to work with Saunders and Bomey on it?
I want you to take it over.
Well, is there a case in it?
Yeah, but we got a call from San Francisco last night. They got Richards up there.
Oh?
At least they know he's operating in the Bay Area. Saunders and Bomey left last night. They've been on that one for the last year. Looks like they can clean it up. They get back before you bust this, they'll give you a hand.
Well, what's the pitch on it, Skipper?
It's all there.
Let's take a look, huh, Joe?
Mm-hmm. Sure a bunch of paper.
Here's we can figure they've been working a little over a year.
Yeah. All the checks are drawn on big companies here. You any idea where they're getting them?
No, not yet.
How far we got on it?
Saunders and Bomey have been working on it. They got about halfway through the list of print shops in the city. Then this thing up north came up.
Mm-hmm. Let me see some of the checks,
Oh,
will you, Joe?
Sure, here.
You got rubber companies, oil companies, department stores, aircraft.
How about the ID when they pass them?
The works, driver's licenses, social security cards, lodge cards. Looks legit enough. Been a lot of people taking.
Descriptions always match, do they?
Close enough, yeah. Now and then there's a little difference, but they all match up close enough. Still using the same bad border.
Uh-huh.
You notice that even though they changed the name of the company on the check, changed the heading all around, they use the same border on all of them.
Yeah, I see.
Look, there in the lower left-hand corner. See?
Yeah. Plate's broken. Little break in the border.
Mm-hmm.
All the checks they pass have the same thing.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't notice it unless you're really looking for it, would you?
Well, that's it. All the reports are there. Everything that's been done. It's in your lap now. Need anything, let me know.
Right. Okay, Skipper, we'll get right on it. Well, from the package here, sure looks like they're scoring good, doesn't it?
How much they gotten?
Well, let's see. Figures about $70,000.
Huh. All the bulletins we put out. Know the people you cash checks for.
Yeah.
70,000. It's a lot of money, isn't it?
Sure is.
If people would just read those bulletins. They never learn, huh?
10:02 a.m. We started through the package. The check forgers had been working for over a year. They'd passed phony checks all over the southern part of the state. The amounts on the checks varied from $50 to $275. They carried 10 different endorsements. The names and signatures had been run through our files, but we'd gotten no identification. The writing had been checked by Don Meyer, but there were no examples in the files that matched. During the next 2 days, we finished canvassing the print shops in the area in an attempt to find where the bad checks were being printed. We came up with no new information. Additional circulars were gotten out to all stores and check cashing agencies in the area, giving the description of the two men and lists of the companies the checks had been drawn upon. Photographs of the checks pointing out the border defect were also distributed. 2 weeks went by. No results. Informants had been checked and rechecked. Known forgers had been questioned. The victims of the forgers had been shown the mug books. They failed to make any identification. From what they'd told us, we had the artist in the crime lab draw up a composite picture of the two men. Copies of these were distributed to the people and organizations most likely to cash the phony checks. Lieutenant Saunders and Sergeant Bomey finished their investigation up in San Francisco and joined us in the search for the forgers. Tuesday, April 27th, 10:14 a.m. Frank and I checked back into the office.
Lousy thing. Yeah. Clutch was out. You know, I thought it was the pin. Sure felt like it. Funny feeling when you press down, there's nothing there.
Did he say when it would be ready?
I thought he could have it for us in the morning. I'll check the business office and get another car.
We'll try to get a good one. The last one we drew was about to fall apart.
Yeah.
I'll get it. Forgery, Friday. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, that's right. What? Uh-huh. What was that address again? Yes, ma'am, I have it. Yeah. Yeah, well, do everything you can. Yes, ma'am. Right away. And get your coat.
What is it?
Check cashing agency out on Pico. The guy's there now. Frank and I left the office and checked out another car. We drove out to the check cashing agency on Pico. It was located near a large tool and die plant, and they advertised that they cashed payroll checks. 10:33 a.m. We parked the car and went into the store.
You the police?
Yes, ma'am. Are you the one that placed the call?
I sure am. I stalled him like you said. That's him back there.
Uh-huh.
I told him that he'd have to wait for the manager to get back and open the safe. He got pretty huffy about it at first. Then he said he'd wait. I think he's been drinking.
Yes, ma'am. All right, we'll talk to him.
He's the one. You'll see. I spotted him right away. Took one look at him, and I knew he was the one you've been looking for.
All right, ma'am. Let's go.
Sure fits the description.
He's the one.
Excuse me.
Yeah?
You wanted to cash a check, did you?
Yeah, that's right.
What if we could see your identification?
The young lady has it.
And here it is. His driver's license, his Social Security card.
All right, thank you. Leslie P. Bergen, is that right?
That's what it says.
Yeah, we've seen it before.
What if we could see that check?
You bet. I'll get it for you.
Well, look, there's no reason to make a federal case out of this. Give me the check and I'll go someplace else. I tell you, though, you act like this to everybody who comes in here, you ain't going to stay in business long.
Yeah.
Here you are, officer. Here's the check.
What's she talking about?
What?
Officer. She called him officer. What are you, cops?
You called it. How about it, Joe?
Yeah, broken border. Where'd you get this check, mister?
Well, what do you mean, where did I get it? They gave it to me at the plant.
Gave you this check, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Say, what's this all about anyway? How come you guys are so interested?
I wonder if we could see what you got in your pockets.
No, I don't have to show you. It's none of your business.
You been drinking, mister?
None of your business. You got no call to act like
All right,
this.
come on. Let's see what's in your pockets.
Well, what's that going to prove?
Now, look, Bergen, if you haven't done anything wrong, then you got no reason not to show us, have you?
Yeah? Oh, all right.
Put the things here on the counter, huh?
All right. You guys going to regret this, you know.
Is that right?
You just bet. I got a lot of friends in pretty high places, and they're going to hear about this. You guys be sorry you ever started this.
All right, come on. You can go a little faster than that, can't you?
All right, here. Here's some keys, change, money clip.
All right, pick up the money and keep that with you. Now, just the money. Now the back pockets.
Back pockets?
That's right. We want to see what's in them, too.
Well, all righty. I'm glad to cooperate with the law. Nice to know you guys are this alert. I'm glad to know you're doing your duty.
Yeah, come on. Let's get to those back pockets, shall we?
Say, what's your name?
Friday.
Cop, huh?
That's right.
Friday, huh? Yeah, what's your first name?
Joe.
Joe Friday.
That's right. Now, come on. Get the stuff out of your back pockets. Will you stall long
I
enough?
bet you think I'm trying to hide something in there, huh? Well, you're wrong. I got nothing to hide. There's my wallet, comb, that's all.
This key here?
Yeah?
Keys to your car?
No, I don't have a car.
Oh, that's not true, officer. I saw him drive up. That's his car out in front, the red Ford.
Is that right, Bergen?
Well, now, maybe it is, and then maybe again it isn't.
You want to check on it, Frank?
Yeah.
Here's keys.
I hate to think of it. I really do.
What's that?
Trouble you guys are going to get into when my friends in high places hear about this.
Yeah, sure. Let's look at your wallet, huh?
Why, you bet. Always glad to cooperate with the law.
No, you hold it. Just open it up. Any money in it?
I told you the money's in the money clip. Right here. You told me to keep it. You don't remember very well, do
Well,
you?
these your cards here? Business cards?
Let me see.
Here.
Yeah, certainly, they're mine.
Leslie Paul Bergen, business advisor. I thought you said you worked at the plant.
Part-time job. What's your name?
Friday.
What's your first name?
Joe, I told you.
Joe Friday, huh? I'd remember that and tell my friends in high places.
How about your coat pockets? Anything in them?
Well, cigarettes, maybe handkerchiefs, matches. That's about all.
All right, let's see him.
All righty. Sure nice to know that we got officers like you, always doing your duty. Yeah, see? Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you say you got this check?
What check?
This one here, the one you tried to cash.
Oh, yeah, that check.
Yeah, that check. That's the one.
Well, I got it from a friend. He asked me to cash it for him. Just so happened I had the money, so I did. Anything wrong with cashing a check for a friend?
How come the check's made out to you?
They always make checks out to me. Always do down at the plant.
Now, look, mister, you got your stories all mixed up here. Let's go downtown and get this thing straightened out, shall we?
Joe.
Yeah.
We hit it. 23 checks all made out to him. Found him in the glove compartment of the car. The car's registered to a Leslie R. Doyle.
What's his name?
Smith.
First name?
Frank Smith.
What is this?
Oh, he's a happy drunk.
Oh.
These checks yours, Doyle?
Well, let me see. Never saw those in my life.
Well, we found them in your car.
Oh, I certainly don't understand that. In my car?
Yes, that's right. Now, come on, let's go downtown.
Where are we going?
Downtown.
What's your name?
Smith, Frank Smith.
Phony name. You wait till my friends hear about this policeman using your alias. My friend's going to hear about this, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Ah, in high places.
10:57 a.m. The suspect admitted that his true name was Leslie Doyle and that the car belonged to him. We took him to the city hall. Frank ran the name through R&I, but we got no make on him. His prints were rolled, but there was no record on him. A communication was gotten off to George Brereton, CII Sacramento, and one was sent to Washington. 11:30 a.m. We took him to the interrogation room to question him.
I told you, I don't know where the checks came from.
They were found in your car.
So they were found in my car. That mean they're mine?
Looks like you had something to do with it. They all were made out to you, the phony ID you got there.
Well, maybe it's a joke. Maybe it's somebody's idea of a gag.
Well, that's not very funny, is it, Doyle?
Well, you don't have to tell me. Say, you got another aspirin. My head's coming apart.
Frank, you got
Yeah. Here.
Yeah, thanks. Got some water?
I'll get some for you.
Oh, never mind. I'll take it without. Thought you might have a tap here.
What?
Sure. You turn it on and let it drip, and then you don't give people none until they answer your questions.
Yeah, sure.
You take pills like I do, you get to the point where the only important thing is to get them in your stomach.
All right. Now, how about the checks, huh?
I told you 100 times I don't know anything about
Then
them.
maybe we better fill you in, huh?
Yeah, go ahead. I like to hear.
We got you for trying to pass a check this morning, didn't we? You want to cop out to that?
So maybe one check. Like I said, that's no crime. I cashed it for a guy. Maybe it was the same guy who planted the other ones.
Oh, why don't you come off it, Doyle? Let's stop playing games here. We made you for the forgeries, and you know it. Your description matches the one we got. You turn up with 23 checks made out to you, all drawn on different companies. The border on the checks matches the ones we're looking for. We got witnesses who identify you. Now, why not save a lot of time and admit it? Come on, Doyle. Doyle?
Don't look like there's any other way, does it?
Not from here.
Well, if I cop out, will it help any?
What do you mean?
Like you said, now let's stop playing games. Will it help me out any?
You're liable for 1 to 14 on each count.
And if I help?
All we can do is see that it's marked down that way.
That's all?
That's all.
Well, then I got nothing to lose by not talking.
That's the wrong way to look at it.
You guys haven't come up with any other way?
We don't make deals, Doyle. You know that.
Well, all right. I'll play it that way, too.
Now, let's get this 510, huh? Your true name, Leslie Richard Doyle?
Yeah.
Charge, suspicion 470 PC, forgery, April 27. Where do you live, Doyle?
I told you once.
Well, tell us again, would you?
19,540 North Edgehill Avenue.
Is that a private home?
No, it's an apartment.
What's the number?
Say, you got another aspirin. This headache's the worst one I ever had.
Don't worry, they're going to get worse.
We continued to talk to Doyle. He told us that he'd come from back east about a year and a half ago. He said that he'd never been arrested and he had no record. He refused to tell us who his confederate was in the forgery operation, and he told us that we'd get no help from him in proving that he was mixed up in it. We booked him at the main jail, and then we got in touch with Lieutenant Saunders and Sergeant Bomey. Together with them, we arranged a special show-up. The victims of the forgers were asked to be present, and 12 of them gave us a positive identification of Doyle as the man who'd victimized them. The others said that he was not the man. When confronted with this information, Doyle confessed to being one of the men involved, but he still refused to name his accomplice. A week went by. Each day we questioned Doyle. Gradually, we pieced together a picture of their operation. Doyle still refused to tell us where we could find his partner. The kickback from Washington and Sacramento arrived, but gave us no new information. All known friends and associates of Doyle were checked out. From them, we found out that Doyle did work with another man, but that none of the witnesses could identify him. The rumble was that the two men had split up because of Doyle's drinking. We were able to get little other information on the missing partner.
Wednesday, May 5th, 11:40 a.m. Frank and I checked into Captain Welsh's office.
How about it?
No, nothing, Skipper. He says that he knew Doyle, but he doesn't know the other man.
Any of the other leads pan out?
No, none of them.
Where do you go from here?
Well, talking to Doyle's friend, we found out they used to hang out down there on Wilshire and Olympic. You know that area down there?
Yeah.
Well, Frank and I have been talking it over. Looks like about the only way to bring him out is to go looking for him.
Yeah, so you guys go down there, huh?
Well, we checked on that. The bunch down there aren't too chummy. They don't talk to strangers much, so we figured that maybe the best idea would be for one of us to go undercover. Maybe pose as a thief, buy our stolen goods, something like that. We might get a line on them that way.
Yeah, might work.
Well, not much choice now. We've tried about everything else.
Well, which one of you is going to do it?
Well, I thought maybe I'd be the one.
No, I don't know if that's such a good idea.
Why not, Skipper? Joe took the last one.
Yeah, but didn't you work that area when you were in Vice?
Yeah, but that was a couple of years ago.
Still might be some people down there who remember you. You better take this one on Friday.
All right.
When do you figure to start?
I thought in the morning.
Okay, work out the way you're going to keep in contact. All the details will give you the help you need to swing it.
Right, Skipper.
I don't know, Joe. Seems like you're always the one to draw this duty. Ought to be my turn sometime.
I'll trade with you.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. Smokers all over America are changing to Chesterfield because Chesterfields are premium quality throughout in both regular and king size.
King size Chesterfield contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king size cigarette. That's certainly important to every king size smoker. Of course, it's the same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. There's absolutely no difference, except that king-size Chesterfield gives you more than a fifth longer smoke.
So remember, the modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. First and only cigarette with premium quality in both regular and king size.
Chesterfield is much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Thursday, May 6th, 9:30 a.m. I left my apartment and went down to the vicinity of Wilshire and Olympic. I spent an hour wandering around the bars in the area, and then I checked into a small hotel down on South Hill. I registered as Joe Kelvin from Phoenix, Arizona. I told the clerk that I was in town on business and that I'd be there as long as it took me to conclude the deal I was working on. I spent the afternoon in a bar on 4th Street, and I got friendly with the bartender. I asked him if he knew Leslie Doyle, and he told me that he'd seen him around, but that he didn't know him very well. I asked if he'd ever seen Doyle with another man. He said that he had, but he didn't know who he was. The bartender went on to say that the two men had frequent arguments and that they usually ended up with the other man walking out and Doyle going on a drunk. He told me that I might be able to get some additional information on the man in a cafe over on 5th Street. I spent the next 3 days wandering around that area eating my meals in the restaurant. At the end of that time, I had no new leads. Frank, Saunders, and Bomey were still working on the case, and Frank told me that the bad border check passing was still going on. Further conversations with Doyle netted them nothing. At the end of a week, I'd gotten to know one of the waitresses at the restaurant, and she indicated that she knew Doyle's partner, that she knew him merely as Mac. She was unable to tell me where I could find him. I got in touch with Frank Smith, and he ran the name through the moniker file in R&I, but he got no make. Friday, May 14th, 10:56 a.m. I stopped for breakfast.
Morning, Joe.
Hi, Agnes.
What'll it be this morning?
Well, let's see. Orange juice, couple of eggs, toast, and coffee. Right?
Eggs sunny side up?
Yeah. How's the bacon?
Great, just like always.
All right, couple of pieces.
Yeah.
Want to bring the coffee right away?
Yeah.
Is that the morning paper?
Yeah.
Thank you. What happened to the sports page?
Here. You don't look good this morning, Dad and I.
Yeah. I had trouble getting to sleep last night.
Mm-hmm. How's the deal coming?
Oh, all right. I should line it up in a couple of days.
What business you in, anyway?
Oh, you could call me kind of a broker, I guess.
That right?
Yeah. Coffee's been hot.
Yeah. Just what does that mean?
What, the coffee?
Being a broker.
Oh, I buy things for a price and I resell them for more.
Things you buy. They hot?
Well, why do you ask that?
Just wondered. Rumbles around that you're in town buying stolen stuff.
Is that right?
That's what they say. Is it true?
I don't know. I haven't been talking to the same people as you.
That the reason you want to get in touch with Mac?
Well, look, if I answer that, I've answered the first question, haven't I?
Yeah. That the reason, Joe?
Oh, it might be. Where's the sports page? Is it around? Why, do you know where I can get in touch with him?
I like you, Joe.
Yeah, well, I think you're nice, too. I'd like to have the sports page if you could find it for me.
No, I mean it. I think you're all right.
Well, thanks, Agnes. That's nice of you to say that.
You've never tried to get fresh. Different from most of the guys that come in here.
Is that right?
Sure. Guys all the time getting fresh, asking me out. Not you, Joe. You got a girl in Phoenix?
Oh, I might have, yeah. I haven't been back for a while, you know.
Mm-hmm. Lucky girl. What's she like, Joe?
Who's that?
Girl in Phoenix.
Oh, I guess she's a little like you. She's a nice girl.
You want to get married?
Well, I don't know. It kind of depends on this deal here I'm working on.
It'd be nice if you got married. I'm going to get married someday.
That'll be nice.
It'd be real nice if you got married. Depends on this deal, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I'll tell you how to get in touch with Mac.
11:14 a.m. I continued to talk to Agnes. She told me that she didn't know where Mac lived, but that she could put me in touch with a man who might. She gave me the address, and I drove over to the place. It was a rooming house on South Vermont. I talked to the man. He told me that he'd seen Mac during the past week and that as far as he knew, the suspect was still living in an apartment house on 7th Street. 1:15 p.m. I called the office, and Frank Smith came out to meet me. We arrived at the apartment house and talked to the manager, Mrs. Nancy Holmes. She told us that she had a tenant named McLean who answered the description we gave her. She told us that McLean had lived in the apartment for the past 8 months. She went on to say that she didn't know what business he was in, but that up until a few weeks ago he was in the company of a man called Doyle. Her description of the man matched that of the suspect. 2:46 p.m. In the company of the manager, we went through McLean's apartment. We found 14 checks made out to him, and all of them drawn on large companies. All of them had the same broken printed border. Frank and I waited for him to return. 5:32 p.m.
What are you doing here?
Your name Gene McLean?
Yeah, who are you?
Police officers.
These checks here.
Where'd you get those?
On the desk over there.
You got no right to go through my things.
We'll talk about that downtown. Come on, let's go.
Now, look, maybe you guys made a mistake, huh? Maybe you got the wrong fella. Can't we work something out? This is a pretty good thing. There's enough for everybody. I'm sure we can make a deal, huh? No reason to act like this.
Where's the press, mister?
Huh?
The press you print these up on, where is it?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about a press. I don't even know what you're talking about.
It won't work, McLean. We got Doyle.
What's he told you?
All we need.
Well, then he's told you where the press is, too.
We're asking you about that, mister.
Well, like I said, I don't know what you're talking about.
You drive a car, McLean?
Yeah.
Where'd you park it?
On the street. No garages in this crummy place.
No, that's not true, Mr. McLean.
Oh, keep your nose out of this. You've been spouting off too much already.
That's not true, Mr. McLean. I heard everything from the hall. These officers asked me some questions, and I answered them. Police have never given me any trouble. 10 years I've been managing this place. Never had no trouble before. Now you come in here and louse things up.
Oh, turn it off. Come on, let's get out of here.
Now, you just wait a minute. Come in here and call this a crummy place. You didn't know I heard you, did you? Well, I did. Listen, officer, he's lying when he says he doesn't have a garage. He may keep his car out on the street. Maybe that part's true, but he's got a garage. You just bet he has.
Come on, let's get out of here. Stick around here and listen to this loony old bag. She's cracking up.
Where is the garage, ma'am?
I'll show you. It's just down the street. It's an old place. They rent it from the Pearsons. Just down the street. I'll show you.
Crummy old bat. Real harpy. Sticking her nose in where it don't belong.
Don't you talk to me like that. I don't know what it is that these officers are looking for.
Yeah?
But I'll just bet they'll find it there.
6:27 p.m. Mrs. Holmes showed us down the street to a garage set behind a large house. The door was locked, but McLean produced the key. We went over the place, but we found nothing. 6:55 p.m.
Satisfied now? Told you there wasn't anything wrong. I told you you wouldn't find anything here.
It's got to be here someplace, Joe.
Yeah. How long you had this place, McLean?
A couple of months.
Now, we can check the owner on that.
Aren't you guys ever going to give up? You maybe got me in custody, but that don't mean you're ever going to be able to prove anything.
I think maybe we'll be able to.
Joe.
Yeah.
Take a look here. On the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Look here, see the old wooden floor, and most of the nails are all rusted over. And right here, they look pretty new. Looks like the wood's been moved.
Mm-hmm. How about this, McLean?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Grab that hammer, will you, Frank, over there?
Yeah, sure. Here you go.
All right. Now maybe we can take a look.
Guys are wasting your time, you know that, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's our time. Don't you worry about it. You want to give me a hand here, Frank?
Yeah.
All right. You got it?
I got it.
All right.
It's all dug out down there.
Yeah. Let's take a look. There's something down there. How about this, McLean?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The press, huh?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Package over here. Let's see what's in it.
Look, you got no right to come in here and tear up the place. I'm going to see a lawyer about this.
How about it, Joe?
Yeah. Printing press. Take a look.
Engraver's place. Look, here's the broken border.
Yep. All right, McLean, let's go.
You just wait. My lawyer's going to hear about this.
Is that right?
Yeah, you bet it's right. Come in here, tear up the floor. You got no warrant, you got no right. Sick of being shoved around by you guys.
You haven't got any beef, McLean.
I'll decide that.
No, you're wrong.
Huh?
Man. Somebody else is going to do that.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 25th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, here are two important things to remember. Everything that goes into your Chesterfield makes it the premium quality cigarette, and it's the only cigarette that gives scientific evidence of real smoking pleasure. Try much milder Chesterfields today. They're best for you.
Leslie Paul Doyle and Jean Rowell McLean were tried and convicted of 10 counts of forgery. They received their sentences as prescribed by law and are now serving their term in the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California. Forgery is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 1, nor more than 14 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, with long-range aircraft and atomic bombs, the enemy is only hours away from where you live. Our Air Defense Command relies on radar to detect enemy aircraft. But it is possible for low-flying planes to remain undetected. You can help defend America by volunteering for the Ground Observer Corps, a group of civilian men, women, and teenagers who report the presence and activity of aircraft. For information, write or phone your nearest Civil Defense Center.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Art Gilmore, Whit Connor. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show Tuesday night on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield, regular or king size. You'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, it's Adventure with Barry Craig, confidential investigator on NBC.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the first and only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A young woman tells you that her mother has disappeared. There's no trace of her whereabouts. foul play is suspected. Your job, investigate. First, we read you the 6-month report, then the 8-month report. Now, here is 10 full months of scientific evidence on smoking Chesterfields.
A medical specialist is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of this group have smoked Chesterfields for an average of over 10 years. After 10 full months, almost a year now, the specialist reports he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield.
That's the report. And Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette with premium quality throughout, in both regular and king size. Fine tobaccos, the world's best. Costly moistening agents to keep them always tasty, always fresh. And the finest cigarette paper money can buy. Yes, everything that goes into your Chesterfield makes it the premium quality cigarette. And it's the only cigarette that gives you this scientific evidence of real smoking pleasure. Try much milder Chesterfield today. They're best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, August 5th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 10:46 a.m. when we got to 4298 North Estrella Street. The front door.
Hot.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yes, Mrs. What's her name?
Randall, Ella Randall.
Mm-hmm. Did she say what this was about?
I just said that her mother disappeared. She wanted to talk to us about it.
Uh-huh.
Yes?
Ms. Randall?
Yes, that's right.
Police officers, ma'am.
Oh, yes, come in, won't you?
Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am.
Warm out. I think I'll leave the door open. Hope the flies don't come in.
My name's Friday, Mrs. Randall. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
How do you do?
How do you do, ma'am?
Could you tell us just what it is you want to see us about?
Well, of course. Sit down, won't you?
Thank you, Miss Randall.
Would you like some tea or something? I have some ready in the kitchen.
No, thanks.
Just what was it about your mother, Mrs. Randall?
Now that you're here, I guess maybe I could be wrong about it. I was so sure.
Well, just what is it, ma'am?
Well, Mama's gone. I don't know how long it's been, but she isn't with Papa.
Well, what's your mother's name, Ms. Randall?
Bertha Schroeder. My father's Henry.
Uh-huh. What makes you think there might be something wrong? You said on the phone that you were pretty sure that something had happened to her.
Well, yes, I guess I ought to start at the beginning. It's kind of a dull story, but maybe it's the best way.
All right, ma'am.
You sure you wouldn't like a glass of iced tea?
No, thanks, ma'am. Thanks just the same.
Mind if I get some? Just take a minute.
All right.
Hey, it's a nice place, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Sure decorated nice. Hey, look at those trivets.
What?
Trivets. Those little things over the fireplace, those brass things.
Yeah.
Faye's been wanting some of those. He used to use them to hold irons, you know. They get hot, and you put them on the ironing board so they won't burn the cloth.
Put them on those things.
Yeah.
I brought a couple extra glasses in case you decided you wanted some.
Well, if you just go ahead with the story, Ms. Randall.
Yes, well, to understand it, really, you'd have to know Papa.
Mm-hmm.
He came over to this country when he was just a boy, only about 16 or so. Landed here and couldn't speak more than a dozen words of English. Went to work in New York. Worked as a construction man. Worked hard. Met Mama there, and they got married. Right after that, they moved out here. Bought a house, and Papa went into business for himself.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, maybe it was the life he'd had when he got here. I don't know, but he always treated Mama like she was so much dirt. Mean. Time went on, he got meaner to her. Remember when us kids were in school, he used to yell at her all the time. He'd get in the mood, and he wouldn't talk to any of us for days at a time.
Is that so?
I never knew how Mama took it. She never said anything, just stand there and let him scream at her. And when he was finished, she'd just kind of shrug her shoulders and take his kids out of the house, walk around for a while, and then go back to the house. By that time, Papa was so mad he wouldn't talk to anyone.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Well, all of us kids married young. I got married when I was 16. The rest of the kids weren't much older than that. Papa didn't want us around after that. Said for us to get out and make our own way. Said that we had to. So there's no reason that we shouldn't. You sure you don't want some of this?
No, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Would you mind going ahead, Ms. Randall?
Yes. A couple of months ago, I tried to call Mama. The operator told me that the phone had been disconnected.
Beg your pardon?
The operator told me that the phone had been disconnected when I tried to get hold of Mama.
I see.
Now, I waited a couple of days. You know, I figured that maybe she'd call me.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, she didn't.
You see, once we were out of the house, none of us went back. Papa's retired, and none of us wanted to see him. It's a terrible thing to say, Mr. Friday, but it's true.
Ma'am?
We all hated him, all of us kids, for what he'd done to us, the beatings and all. But most for what he'd done to Mama. She was only 52, and she looked like she was 92. It was terrible the way he treated her.
I see.
And like I said, we'd never go over there, but Mama come to see us whenever she could. She'd come over, visit for a little bit, talk about the kids and things.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I didn't hear from her, and I got a little worried that maybe she was sick. If she was, I know that Papa wouldn't tell us, so I went over to the old house, and I rang the bell. I was kind of braced because I thought I'd see Papa and there'd be an argument, but there wasn't.
Ma'am?
No argument.
Oh.
Papa didn't answer the door. Some young woman answered it, and I asked if I could see Mrs. Schroeder. Right away, I knew there was something wrong.
Well, how was that, ma'am?
Well, I could see inside the front door. The living room had all been changed around. There was new furniture. It looked like the walls had been painted, too.
Mm-hmm. What did the woman say when you asked for your mother?
She said they didn't live there anymore. Said that they'd rented the house, and that they'd been living there for the past month.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at first, I don't think I believed her. I asked her who rented the house to her, and she said Papa did. Then I asked her where he was.
What'd she say to that?
Well, she gave me his address. I went over there to talk to him. It was a little tiny apartment just off La Brea. He said that Mama was gone. I asked him where she'd gone, and he said that she was on a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know him well enough to know that he'd never let her go away. Be no one to darn his socks and keep the house clean.
Yeah?
I wanted to know where she'd gone in this vacation. He said back to the old country. Said she wanted to see her family. He said they'd gotten a letter from her sister that she was sick and wanted to see Mama.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right then I called him a liar. Told him right to his face that he was lying. I kind of thought that he'd hit the ceiling, but he didn't. He just smiled and said that I had no call to say anything like that. He asked me why I said it.
What was that? You thought that he hit what?
Well, I thought that he'd hit the ceiling when I said that
see,
to him,
yes,
when
ma'am.
I called him a liar, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I told him that if Mama had left, she'd have written, maybe not to me, but to one of the kids. I called around, and when I didn't hear from her, none of the kids had either. They were all worried about her, too.
I see. Well, what did he say to that?
He said he couldn't understand it, so that he'd gotten a letter, that he'd gotten it not more than a day or so before, that she'd arrived safe and was having a wonderful time.
This was a letter. Huh?
Yes, this was a letter he got from Mama. Well, I told him I thought he was lying. Then he said that he'd show me the letter.
Well, did he?
Well, yeah, he showed me the letter, but he wouldn't show me the envelope, just the letter. He said he'd thrown the envelope away.
Well, was the letter from your mother, ma'am?
Well, sort of from the words it was. Told all about her trip and how she was enjoying herself. Said that she was with her sister and that she was getting better. And then she went on to tell how much she missed Papa and all.
Uh-huh.
And right away I could tell that it wasn't Mama's handwriting. She never wrote that letter.
Beg your pardon?
I said that I knew it wasn't Mama's writing on that letter.
Yeah, well...
Well, that's when I thought about calling you. Then later I remembered something, and then I made up my mind about calling you.
What was that, Ms. Randall?
Well, Mama only had one sister living. She died 3 years ago.
11:13 a.m. We continued to talk to Ella Randall. She told us that she was sure that her mother would not have gone off of her own free will. She said that when she last saw Mrs. Schroeder, she appeared to be in good health and in good spirits. We got the names and addresses of the other children in the Schroeder family. We also got the address of the Schroeder relatives in Europe. Ellen Randall told us that we could find her father at the apartment, and she gave us the address. 12:15 p.m. Frank and I drove over to see him.
This is ridiculous, utterly ridiculous.
Well, maybe so, sir, but we'd like to see the letter that came from your wife. We could.
Officer, I'd like very much to show it to you. Really, I would, but I can't.
Why not, sir?
For the reason that I haven't got it anymore. I destroyed it, burned it a couple of days ago.
Who's your wife staying with, sir?
It was her sister.
Uh-huh. Well, from what we can find out, sir, your wife's sister died 3 years ago. How could your wife be staying with her?
Oh, all right, I suppose I might as well tell you about it. Doesn't seem to be any other way.
All right, sir. Go right ahead.
First off, my wife is not in the old country. She's not with her sister. What you heard is true.
Uh-huh.
Officer, what I have to tell you is very hard to say. I find it hard to find the right words.
That's all right, sir. You just go ahead.
We've been married for 30 years. 30 years, man and wife, and then she did this. Almost broke my heart, officers. Is one of you married?
Oh, yes, sir. My partner here is.
Then you'd know what I mean. You'd know how it is.
Sir?
She left me. Packed her things and left. Didn't give me any reason. Just said she didn't want to be my wife anymore. She said she didn't want to share my roof. Just left. 30 years. All that time, and she left.
Well, what kind of terms were you and your wife on, sir?
What do you mean, this term?
Well, did you and your wife get along all right? Were you happy?
Certainly. As I said, we were married 30 years.
Yes, sir, I understand that, but did you ever have any quarrels?
Sergeant, all married people have quarrels. Maybe the house isn't clean, maybe dinner isn't big enough, maybe the children get too loud. All married couples have quarrels. It's part of living together.
Well, from what we understand, sir, some of the arguments you and your wife had were pretty serious.
The people who said that are liars.
They seem pretty sure.
Liars, that's what they are. Oh, sometimes maybe I forget myself, get a little loud, but serious, never.
How'd you get along with your children, Mr. Schroeder?
My children?
Yes, sir, that's right. How'd you get along with them?
All right, they were a little wild. All children over here are like that, wild. They don't respect their elders, but I got along good.
There seems to be a difference of opinion on that, too, sir. We've heard that you and your children weren't on too friendly terms.
And you believe this? You think that this is true? Mr. Friday, Mr. Smith, these were my own flesh and blood. I loved them, still do. Maybe that sounds hard to believe. I can imagine what you've heard. I know. I've heard about this before. I know who told you. You didn't think I'd know, but I do. It was Ella, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
Who told us isn't important, sir?
But it is. You see, this is very hard for me to say. 30 years married, and it is all a mistake. I knew it from the start. She was a shrew, Mr. Friday. I knew it right away, a shrew.
Sure.
My wife, Bertha, almost from the day we were married, she was a nag. All I wanted in life was to do a day's work and come home and read the paper, maybe have a pipe of tobacco. Rest, work, and have my home. Maybe someday when the children were grown, they'd say, Papa was good. He gave us a good house, and he was good. That's all I wanted.
Yes, sir?
Bertha didn't want that. Always wanted more. For the children, she said. When I wouldn't kill myself at work, she'd get angry, talk loud to me. All I wanted was peace. When the children came along, she taught them just like her.
How do you mean, sir?
Told them what a mean man I was. Turned them against me. My own children. Taught them to hate their father. Their own father.
Yes, sir. Well, why didn't you tell your children that your wife left you?
No, Mr. Friday, I couldn't do that. This would break their hearts. They might hate me, but I don't want them to hate their mother. I couldn't do that. The Lord would never forgive me for that.
Have you heard from your wife at all since she left?
Not a word. I made up that letter so the children wouldn't find out. I couldn't have that.
Did she take any money with her, would you know that?
Yes, she did. We have a joint account at a bank 2 blocks over. She made a large withdrawal the day she left.
Well, Mr. Schroeder, why'd you rent your house?
It was sold by myself. The house was full of Bertha. All the things were hers. Everywhere I looked, I saw her. It hurt me, Mr. Smith. I had to get out, so I came here. It's not much, but I can read the paper and I'll send have a pipe of tobacco. It's peaceful. It's all I need.
Uh-huh. What'd you do with your wife's personal effects?
I don't think I understand, Sergeant.
Her clothes, the furniture from the house, things like that.
They're in storage. I had some men come out and take all of it away, stored it away. I thought that maybe someday Bertha would come back and we could take up where we left off.
Yes, sir. Could you give us the name of the storage company where you left the furniture?
Certainly. It's out on Pico. I can give you the address. Is that important?
No, sir, not really. Just something we ought to check.
Don't you think it might be better if you told your daughter about all this or about what's happened?
No, Mr. Smith, it wouldn't prove anything. Nothing at all.
Well, that's the way you want it, sir. There's nothing we can do about it.
It's better, Mr. Friday. Believe me, I know. If they hate me, there's not much I can do about it, but I don't want to bring them any unhappiness. I couldn't do that.
Yes, sir.
I'm 65 years old, Mr. Friday. I worked hard all the time, harder than most men. Had 4 children. They're all grown. They have families of their own. All this, and I've got nothing. Nothing but lonely days and empty nights.
Yes.
It's an awful thing. Just awful.
Sir?
To work all your life and have nothing to show for it.
1:37 p.m. We got the address of the storage company from Henry Schroeder, and then Frank and I left to go back to the office. At this point, we had 2 stories. Both of them could be true. Both of them could be lies. There was no way of knowing. In the meantime, it was merely a matter of checking. Until it could be proved one way or the other, there was little action we could take. 2:15 p.m. Frank and I checked back into the office, and I put in a call to the storage house. Yes, sir. I'll wait while you're checking, huh?
I don't know, Joe. Sure seems like the old guy is telling the truth.
Well, we check this out, we'll know one way or the other.
Such a nice little guy. Seems hard to believe that he'd do anything wrong.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What was that? Uh-huh. Could you tell me when? What was the name? Mm-hmm. That's right. Yes, sir. All right. Uh-huh. Thanks very much. That's Joe Friday. F-R-I-D. Yeah. That's right. Michigan 5211, extension 2521. Right. All right. Thanks again.
How about it?
He stored the furniture, all right.
Yeah.
I remembered him. Talked to him a couple of weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
Told him to sell everything.
We drove out to the storage house and talked to the owner. He said that Schroeder had called them out to pack the furniture, and then he ordered it stored. A week later, he called back and told them to dispose of all the furnishings and personal effects. We called Schroeder's bank, and they told us that there'd been no large withdrawals on the date of her disappearance. Also, she'd drawn no checks since. We got in touch with the other children, and they verified their sister's story. They all said that the father was hard to live with and had on several occasions struck Mrs. Schroeder. They told us that it was possible that she had left her husband, but that she would certainly have gotten in touch with one of them if she had. They said that as far as they knew, Mrs. Schroeder was in good health, and she was in good condition mentally. One of the daughters said that they were planning on a shopping trip to buy school clothes for one of the grandchildren. The woman went on to say that as far as she knew, Mrs. Schroeder would not have left without saying something to her about not being able to keep the appointment. We got in touch with Ella Randall. She said that she would like to accompany us when we talked to the neighbors of the Schroeder woman. She said that she could point out her mother's friends and that she would be able to trace her mother's movements about the neighborhood for us. 4:15 p.m. We picked her up. We talked to the neighbors, and they told us of hearing loud voices coming from the house. They said that Mr. Schroeder was always angry at his wife, and he made no attempt to hide it. 7:30 p.m. We went on to talk to the people who had rented the Schroeder home.
Come on in.
Thank you very much, Mr. Armstrong. It's my partner, Frank Smith. This is Mrs. Randall.
Yes, Mrs. Randall, I've met before. How are you, Mrs. Randall?
How are you, Mr. Armstrong?
Now, what's this all about?
We'd like to ask you some questions about the Schroeders, if we could.
Well, Mrs. Randall here would be able to answer them better for you. They're her parents.
Well, yes, sir. We'd like some information from you, if we could.
All right, go ahead. Don't think there's much I can tell you.
Did you see Mrs. Schroeder when you rented the house?
No, come to think about it, I didn't. Mr. Schroeder talked about her, but I didn't see her when we took the house.
Uh-huh. How'd Mr. Schroeder act when you rented the place?
I don't think I understand.
Well, did he seem upset? Anything at all unusual about him?
As a matter of fact, there was.
What was that, sir?
Well, the house was kind of old. You know, paint missing from some of the woodwork. Some of the paper was a little faded, and we asked him if he planned to fix it up before we moved it. You know, if he'd foot the bill.
Yes, sir, we understand.
Well, right away, I kind of expected an argument. He just seemed like that kind of a guy. You know, who wouldn't spend a nickel he didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't like that. Just smile and say anything that we wanted, he'd have done. Real nice. Sure hasn't caused any trouble. Of course, there's no reason for him to. We pay the rent on time, take care of the lawn, the flowers. I think we're pretty good tenants.
Sure is a difference. Never looked like this when we lived here. I remember that Mama would ask him to paint the place a little. Always raise the roof. Said there wasn't any reason to do it. Said to wait until the kids were grown and appreciated a house.
Not like that with us.
Well, he was with his own family. Even when we were gone, after we left the house, he said that there wasn't any reason to fix the place up. Said that Mama and him were the only people who ever saw the inside of it, and it didn't matter to them.
Like I said, couldn't ask for a better landlord.
Well, I kind of hate to ask this.
Yeah?
Well, I wondered if I could see the rest of the house. I'd kind of like to see what he did to it.
Well, I guess it's okay. It won't take too long. I gotta eat pretty quick. Got a bowl tonight. Team's playing the league championship tonight.
Just a look. I won't keep you.
Okay. Well, you know the house.
Yes.
This is the living room. Bedrooms are down the hall. This is dining room.
Oh, pretty paper. It made Mama so happy to have this.
There's a bath.
All new tile. Just beautiful.
Yeah, it makes it nice.
Mm.
It's a master bedroom.
This was Papa's room. Sure is nice. Oh, look at the pretty curtains.
Those are ours. We said he'd put drapes in every one of them, but
Oh.
Sally, it's a wife. She likes curtains.
Uh-huh. I do, too.
Use this for the oldest boy.
This was Mom's room. Oh, it's just beautiful. That's a beautiful carpet.
Yeah, he put that in, too. Didn't even have to ask for that. It's own idea.
Wall-to-wall carpeting. Mama always wanted it.
The only room in the house that has it.
Do you have a cellar in this house, Mr. Armstrong?
Yeah. We use it for the freezer. Sally puts up canned goods in the summer. Keep them down there.
Wonder if we could see it, please.
Sure, but there isn't any change down there. He didn't do anything with the cellar.
Yes, sir. It's all right, though. We'd like to see it.
Oh, sure. Like to make it fast, though. I gotta eat, you know.
Yes, sir. We understand. It won't take very long here.
Sure, it's down this way. Had to run electricity down there for the freezer. I guess he'd have done it, but it was just an extension cord. Thought about having it done permanently, but no real reason to.
I understand.
I'll go ahead and get the light.
Yes, sir. You want to wait here, Miss Randall?
Why?
Well, no reason, ma'am. We just thought it might be better.
Well, all right. I'll wait in the living room.
All right, thank you. Come on, Frank.
Yeah.
Not very big, just room enough for the freezer and a few shelves.
Uh-huh. Cement floor, huh?
Yeah.
Frank?
Yeah?
You want to swing that light up here? I want to check something here. Oh, sure. What's this room under, Mr. Armstrong? I mean, what's above it?
Let's see. That'd be the master bedroom about to there.
Uh-huh.
The room next would begin there.
Uh-huh. That'd be Mrs. Schroeder's room, wouldn't it?
From what Mrs. Randall said, yeah.
Uh-huh. You got a piece of paper, sir? I'd like to get up on the freezer. I don't want to scratch it here.
Why, something you want?
Well, I just like to look. Have a piece of paper, cardboard, anything, cloth?
I don't see any. Go ahead. Just don't scrunch your feet around. He'll be all right.
All right, sir. All right, Frank. Swing the light around, will you?
Yeah. What is it, Joe?
I'm not sure. You got your flash?
Yeah, here you go.
Okay.
What is it? What do you see up there?
We better call the crime lab and get them out here.
What is it?
See through the flooring up there.
Yeah?
Looks like blood.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. All over America, smokers are changing to Chesterfield because Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette with premium quality throughout, in both regular and king size.
King size Chesterfield contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king size cigarette. Well, that's certainly important to every king size smoker. Of course, it's the same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield.
So remember, the modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. First and only cigarette with premium quality throughout, in both regular and king size.
Chesterfield is much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
8:14 p.m. The crime lab was called, and they came out to go over the place. A benzodine test was run on the stains, and it was proved that they were blood stains. The carpet in the bedroom was removed, and additional stains were uncovered. Frank and I checked the cellar floor, but it was solid, and there was no evidence that any part of it had been torn up. A preliminary check was made of the yard, but we found nothing. The next morning at 7:58 a.m., we called the crime lab. They'd finished their investigation and told us that the stains were made by human blood. 8:10 a.m., Frank and I drove out to the house to continue our investigation.
Boy, it's going to be a scorcher.
Yeah, it looks that way. Did you check that corner of the yard over there?
Yeah, doesn't look like anything's been disturbed.
Well, let's talk to the neighbors again. There's got to be an answer someplace.
Okay. You know, I'm going to tell Faye to get me some of those shirts with the holes in them.
What do you mean, holes in them?
You know, like they wear back east. Little bitty holes between the material. That way you don't get so hot.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute, Joe.
What?
There's something on the grass over there by the rose bed.
Oh, it's probably a locket or something one of the kids dropped. A toy, maybe.
Yeah, I'll get it. Give it back to Armstrong.
What do you got?
Piece of dental bridge work. Looks like it's been in a fire.
The crime lab was called, and they went over the backyard. They checked the incinerator, and under a large heap of ashes, they found several pieces of bone. They took a sample of the ash back to the lab to examine it. We got in touch with the daughter, Mrs. Randall. We got the address of Mrs. Schroeder's dentist. Frank and I drove out to talk to him. We showed him the piece of dental bridge work that we'd found, and he identified it as positively belonging to Mrs. Schroeder. He showed us the card from his files, which gave the date that he'd installed the bridge. 11:56 a.m. We called the crime lab, and Lieutenant Lee Jones told us that the ash and the particles of bone that he'd recovered could be of human origin. 12:15 p.m. We drove out to the apartment and took Henry Schroeder into custody. We talked to him in the interrogation room.
I don't understand all this. None of it makes any sense.
Well, it's pretty simple, Schroeder.
Simple? You say that I killed Bertha, and you say it's simple. How can you say that? Why do you say that? You must have a reason. I've told you all I know.
There's a couple of things you didn't tell the truth about, sir.
What?
You said that just before your wife left you, she made a large withdrawal from your account, didn't you?
That's right, she did. She did take some money.
Well, in checking your bank account, we found no record of any such withdrawal.
You've got no right to go through my bank account. You've got no right.
This is a murder investigation, Schroeder. We've got a right to clear it up.
But she did take the money. She did. You've got to believe me.
It's a little hard to do, Schroeder. Since your wife disappeared, she hasn't drawn any money out of your account. Before that, she drew checks to pay the local store bills. Now, how do you explain that?
I can't. I don't know what you're trying to say. I don't know what you're trying to get me to say.
We're trying to get you to say the truth, that's all.
But I am.
You said you put all the furniture from your house in storage. Now, is that right?
Yes, I said that.
Mm-hmm. You said you wanted to keep it in case your wife came back and you two started all over again?
Yes, that's the truth.
We checked the storage company. They told us you called them and ordered everything sold. Told them to sell it as soon as possible. Now, how do you explain that?
You're getting me so confused, I can't think.
And we checked the house, the one where you and your wife lived. We found bloodstains, lots of them. They're human blood.
I don't know. I don't know.
People who live there now said that you put a carpet over the floor. Only room in the house that has a carpet. They say it was your idea.
I can't think. I don't know what you're saying.
Well, here's a report here. Take a look at it. It's a list of the things we found in your incinerator. Things that were burned. Now, do you want to read it, or you want me to read it to you? How about it, Schroeder?
Schroeder?
I didn't mean it. 30 years. 30 years married. I didn't mean to do it. I came home late. Real late. I'd been drinking. We had words. I hit her. I don't know what happened. I knew what I was doing. I kept hitting her. Then she was dead. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to. She turned the kids against me. Turned everybody against me. 30 years married. She turned everybody against me.
I'm afraid you got it wrong, mister.
Huh?
You did that yourself.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 10th, trial was held in Department 87, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, remember this. Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette with premium quality throughout, in both regular and king size. And Chesterfield is a cigarette that gives scientific evidence of real smoking pleasure. So try Chesterfields today, either way, regular or king size. Chesterfield is much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Henry Rudolph Schroeder was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, June Whitley, Harry Bartell. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show Tuesday night on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield, regular or king size. You'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.